Chapter 275. There were some winter clothes that the young miss brought from home. She didn't need them for the time being, so she put them in the closet of the guest room. Xin Jingxian was hiding inside before. When Xiaoqin squeezed in, the space inside was obviously smaller except for the clothes. The two of them were directly stuck together. You. Xin Jingxuan's face was a little red, but Xiaoqin couldn't see it here. Xiaoqin only felt that Goddess Shen's heartbeat was a little faster. Could it be that Goddess Shen was really moved? As if to confirm this guess, Xiaoqin reached out and gently hugged Xin Jingxian. This made Xin Jingxuan's whole body stiffen. She stood in the closet and didn't dare to move. She glared at Xiaoqin with some embarrassment, but she found that the closet door had been closed. It was dark inside and she couldn't see anything. It's an accident. I didn't know you were here, Xiaoqin said in a low voice. Feeling the softness in his arms, Xiaoqin almost thought that this was a scene from a dream. To be honest, at the moment when he was kicked out of the Xiao family, Xiaoqin thought that he was finished. His future life would definitely be full of bleakness. But now, Xiaoqin found that this was simply the beginning of a colorful life. Not only did he gain the friendship of many big shots, but his relationship with Goddess Shen also became ambiguous. Only a ghost would believe it. Xin Jingxian said angrily, "You must have come here on purpose." "How is that possible?" "I have been serving the young miss downstairs to wash her hair," said Xiaoqin. "Aren't you very perceptive? You can even feel the big pit. Can't you feel where I am?" Xin Jingxian snorted. Xiaoqin laughed twice. Xin Jingxian wasn't stupid. "Xiaoqin, I thought about it carefully before. We can't do this. It's really not good." Xin Jingxuan's voice was a little trembling. "You and Qing Minjing are a couple. We are at her house and we still do this. I can't live with my conscience. It seems that I have done something wrong to her. Me and her. Is it still possible?" Xiaoqin sighed and laughed at himself. The Qing family wanted to kill him. How could they let Qing Minjing marry him? "I think it's still possible as long as the Qing family knows your strength," Xin Jingxian said. "As long as you show your strength to Grandpa Qing, then the Qing family will definitely put the marriage on the agenda again." "What about you?" Xiaoqin asked. "Even if I don't marry Qin Jinping, my family doesn't know how to arrange it. The Xin family and the Qing family are different. The Qing family is limited to Songning City, but the Xin family..." Xin Jingxian didn't continue after she said that. She just sighed softly. "I can't reveal my strength for now. There are too many people who want to kill me and I don't know where they came from. I haven't investigated my father's matter clearly. If I reveal my strength, everyone will be on guard against me, and the truth will be quickly covered up." Xiaoqin shook his head. "It's fine if I don't have the strength, but I do. I want to find out what happened to my father." As Xiaoqin spoke, he couldn't help but hug Xin Jingxian even tighter. Xin Jingxuan's entire body was in his arms. Xin Jingxian moaned, and her whole body went limp in Xiaoqin's arms. Her breathing was a little rushed. She wanted to push Xiaoqin away, but she didn't have any strength at all. This moan made Xiaoqin inevitably have a reaction. Originally, with the goddess in his arms, Xiaoqin had restrained himself, but now Xiaoqin couldn't restrain himself. Xin Jingxian felt that there seemed to be something hard pressing against her, which made her slightly stunned. She immediately understood what it was and suddenly became angry. "Xiaoqin, do you really think we are good like this?" "I don't know. I just like you." Xiaoqin took a deep breath and said, "Maybe it's a kind of obsession. In the past I could only look up to you, but now I can hold you in my arms, so I don't want to give up." Xin Jingxian sighed faintly. She closed her eyes and didn't think about the future and the troubles of the family. In fact, at this moment she also enjoyed it very much. She felt very warm. She wanted time to stop here. She just wanted to be held by Xiaoqin until the end of time. It was like a song. When the mountain has no edges, when the river no longer flows, when time stops, when the day and night are not separated, when everything in the world turns into nothingness, I still can't break up with you. I can't break up with you. Your gentleness is the greatest protection in my life. Sometimes Xin Jingxian also thought about leaving the family, but could she really leave? It was a joke to say that she ran away from home. With the strength of the Xin family, it was very easy to find her. Not to mention her, even if the Tang family, which was one level lower than the Xin family, wanted her to go back, she had to go back. Listening to Xiaoqin's words, Xin Jingxuan's heart softened at this moment. She was a kind person and she also liked the feeling of being with Xiaoqin. So, she wanted to indulge herself just for a while. After a while, when they got out of the closet, they would still be the same as before. What happened here, just like the time on the island, became a beautiful memory. "Xiaoqin, do you know? Although I didn't make sarcastic remarks to you in the past, to be honest, I never thought too much of you. Shen Jingxian hesitated and said. She thought that since she and Xiao Chen were like this, she should confess her thoughts to Xiao Chen. She couldn't lie to him. Not only you but also Miss Xiao. She didn't care about me when she saw me before. Xiao Chen smiled calmly. To be honest, Xiao Chen used to think that he was an ignorant and incompetent playboy. This was also an illusion that Xiao Chen deliberately created, and he didn't refute Qiao Yuliang's rumors at all. The more stupid he was, the less threatening he was, the safer the Xiao family would be. Otherwise, the Xiao family was the weakest among the 4 big families, and it would definitely be the stepping stone for other families to rise. Xiao Chen knew that he was useless, so he created the impression that the Xiao family was dying, and when Xiao Feng got old, the Xiao family would be finished. However, he didn't expect that even so, someone still couldn't wait to take action against the Xiao family. His father was missing and he was also driven out of the Xiao family. This was the rhythm of making the Xiao family have no descendants. It was simply a plan to kill the family, and it couldn't be said that it wasn't sinister. Therefore, when Shen Jingxian didn't see him before she left, Xiao Chen already felt that Shen Jingxian was too kind. Otherwise, with his previous notoriety, who would be willing to have more contact with him? Menjing's heart is actually very good. She always quietly pays attention to you and we often discuss about you. Sometimes she seems to be really troubled. If she marries a playboy like you in the future, what will her life be like? She also hopes that you can improve yourself, and hope that you can become the leader of the younger generation that everyone praises, but you let her down again and again. I'm worried for you. Shen Jingxian couldn't help but smile when she said this. If Menjing knew your true side, she might have already fallen in love with you, and she wouldn't have let the Cheng family break off the engagement. Damn, I didn't do it on purpose. The Xiao family is too dangerous, Xiao Chen said. I know. That's even more difficult. Originally, I thought that Qiao Yuliang could hide his strength as a martial artist at the peak of Stage 3 Inner Force for so long, and I didn't expect that you actually... Shen Jingxian shook her head. However, if you were so outstanding from the beginning, maybe I wouldn't have any thoughts about you because after all, you are Menjing's fiancé, but now... Sigh. Xiao Chen hugged Shen Jingxian tightly. He hesitated for a moment and then said firmly, don't agree to Chen Jinpeng's request just yet. Try to delay your relationship as much as possible. Wait for the day when I can walk into the Shen family with dignity and treat me as a distinguished guest. Shen Jingxian also began to respond to Xiao Chen, hugging him with both hands. Shen Jingxian couldn't understand why she suddenly wanted to be with Xiao Chen so much. Did falling in love with someone really only happen in a moment? Didn't the children of big families develop feelings after a long time? Shen Jingxian responded inaudibly, I'll try my best. If I can't delay it, I'll kill him. This guy is just a little brother. It was very difficult for him to suppress the Yu family, let alone walk into the Shen family. This guy had always liked her, but he fell in love with Tang Tang halfway. Shen Jingxian was a little jealous. She had never thought that there would be a day where she could be jealous. The marriage between the children of big families was just like that. It was ridiculous to expect the husband to be faithful to his wife. The ancient martial arts families kept the ancient customs. It was normal to have 3 wives and 4 concubines. However, that was the case when Shen Jingxian didn't care about Chen Jinpeng. Once she cared about him, everyone would be jealous. However, jealousy was one thing and she didn't show it. Shen Jingxian had the impulse to ask Xiao Chen, do you like me or Tang Tang more? But she held back. While she was thinking, suddenly the sound of the door being opened came from outside. Shen Jingshuan's whole body tightened. Was someone coming? Was it Qing Menjing and Jean Bebe? She wanted to push Xiao Chen away, but the space in the closet was small. Besides, her whole body was soft and she couldn't move at all. However, Xiao Chen patted her back gently, telling her not to worry. But he patted Shen Jingshuan's bra strap, which made her feel a little weird. She had never thought that a boy would touch this kind of thing. But when the moment came, everything seemed to be reasonable. Shen Jingxian didn't resist. She just felt a little nervous. But the next moment she became even more nervous. Because she heard a click, the closet door was opened and she saw Jean Bebe standing at the door of the closet. I found you. Come out. Jean Bebe shouted. Shen Jingxian was stunned. She was still hugging Xiao Chen at this moment. How could Jean Bebe see them? She felt that she had been caught in the act. She was scared to death. At this moment she didn't know how to face Qing Menjing in the future. If she faced Xiao Chen, Shen Jingxian wanted to explain, but she found to her surprise that her mouth was blocked. It was Xiao Chen's mouth. Shen Jingxian widened her eyes and looked at Xiao Chen in disbelief. Kissing in front of Jin Beibei? Although they had kissed in the sea before and Xin Jingxian didn't particularly reject it, wasn't it courting death to do it in front of Jin Beibei? Xin Jingxian was very angry. If you are courting death, don't drag me into it. Are you trying to ruin the relationship between me and Qing Menjing? What are you doing? Isn't it better to do it secretly? Do you have to make it public? Besides, don't you want to hide your strength? Xin Jingxian wanted to push Xiao Qin away, but she found that she couldn't move him at all. Huh? There's nothing here? Jin Beibei said confusedly. Then she closed the door of the closet. After a while she walked out of the room. Whoa! Xin Jingxian pushed Xiao Qin again and Xiao Qin let go of her this time. It was not good to push one's luck. Xiao Qin also understood that. What are you doing? How do you want me to die? Xin Jingxian was so angry that her chest was heaving. However, it was quite comfortable to press against Xiao Qin's body. She didn't see it, did she? Xiao Qin said with an indifferent smile. She didn't see it? She pretended not to see it to save face for us. Otherwise, do you really think she is blind? Xin Jingxian said angrily. She really didn't see it. Xiao Qin said, I set up an illusion similar to a camouflage. So what Beibei saw was the clothes, not us. Xin Jingxian looked at Xiao Qin in disbelief. Really? Do you remember that the license of Qin Jinpeng's BMW X5 is written with Jin Beibei's name? Xiao Qin asked. That was also a camouflage you used? Xin Jingxian was stunned and believed him a little. Yes. And that Li Shanpao, why did he die? Because what he saw was an illusion, so he died. Xiao Qin nodded. You scared me to death. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Xin Jingxian immediately heaved a sigh of relief. She lay on Xiao Qin's body weakly and rested her chin on Xiao Qin's shoulder. She said weakly, at that moment I thought I was finished. Everything was finished. Menjing would definitely not be with me anymore. Hee. Xiao Qin patted Xin Jingxian. I'm not a fool. I've thought about this long ago. Otherwise, I wouldn't have dared to come in to look for you. But what's up with this illusion? It doesn't seem to be the ability of a warrior. Xiao Qin, are you a warrior or not? Xin Jingxian suddenly had some doubts. Yes and no. Actually, in layman's terms, you can regard me as a superpower user or a demonic cultivator because I have the characteristics of a warrior, a demonic cultivator, and a superpower user, Xiao Qin said. Gosh, I found a man casually, and he's still a full-time master? Xin Jingxian was a little surprised. If it was really like what Xiao Qin said, then she was really full of confidence in Xiao Qin's future. Because the demonic cultivator and the martial cultivator each had their strengths. Xiao Qin could merge them together, which made up for their respective shortcomings. Especially the legendary superpower user, it made Xin Jingxian feel that he was not simple. You admit that I am your man? Xiao Qin asked with a smile. It depends on your performance. Xin Jingxian lowered her head. Then let's kiss again? Xiao Qin said. No, let's go out quickly. What if Menjing comes later? Xin Jingxian said as she pushed the closet door and went out. Xiao Qin had no choice but to follow her out. However, as soon as they went out and closed the closet door, they heard footsteps coming from outside again. Xin Jingxian hurried to tidy up the corner of her clothes to make herself look normal, because there was no place to hide now. She didn't know whether Xiao Qin could still use the illusion camouflage under such strong light. Cousin Menjing, I've searched the guest room. There's no one there. Jin Beibei's voice came from the door. Then where are they hiding? We didn't find them after looking around. You must have not searched carefully enough. Let me search again. Qing Menjing said as she pushed the door open. How is it possible? Beibei searched carefully. Jin Beibei mumbled as she followed Qing Menjing. Cousin-in-law, Sister Jingxian, why are you here? What do you think? I told you that you didn't search carefully enough. The two of them are standing right in the room and they didn't even hide. How can you say that you didn't find them? Qing Menjing glared at Jin Beibei. Hey, are you biased towards Xiao Qin and deliberately going easy on them? That's not right. There was no one here before. Beibei even checked the closet. Jin Beibei, however, was confused. Cousin-in-law, have you been here all the time? Oh no. She and I went to Yi Xiaoya's room, but Yi Xiaoya drove us out after staying there for a while. So we hid in a random guest room, Xiao Qin said. Oh, I see. No wonder. Jin Beibei was enlightened. Then she said to Qing Menjing, Cousin Menjing, look, it's not that I didn't search carefully enough. They came later. All right. You even have a transfer function. It's really hard for us to find them. Qing Menjing complained. Now it's Beibei and my turn to hide. Why don't you go downstairs and wait for us? Okay. Xiao Qin said and walked out of the room first. Xin Jingxian followed him and secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Chapter 277. The two of them went downstairs. Xin Jingxian followed them and whispered, "Who is Yi Xiaoye? She's a tenant here. Didn't Menjing tell you?" Xiao Qin said as they walked. No. Xin Jingxian shook her head. Is she a beauty? Xin Jingxian was stunned when she asked this question. Why did she ask this? It seemed that she was spying on Xiao Qin. Yes, but she's cold. She doesn't get along with eldest miss, but she suffered a few losses in Jin Beibei's hands, Xiao Qin explained. I guess you'll see her in a while. I see. Xin Jingxian just asked casually. She didn't pay much attention to it. The two of them went downstairs and waited in the living room. Before long, footsteps came from the stairs again. Xiao Qin looked up and found it was Yi Xiaoye. So he said to Xin Jingxian, "It's her." Oh. Xin Jingxian glanced at Yi Xiaoye and found Yi Xiaoye was also looking at her. Xiao Qin, is she your girlfriend? Yi Xiaoye glanced at Xin Jingxian and asked. Oh, eldest Mrs. Good Friend. She's here as a guest, Xiao Qin said. Yi Xiaoye nodded and ignored Xin Jingxian. She came to the kitchen and saw so many fresh ingredients. So she asked, Xiao Qin, can you give me some of these ingredients? Sure. Take whatever you want. Xiao Qin didn't care. Anyway, he bought a lot and they couldn't finish it all. If Yi Xiaoye wanted it, he could give it to her. Yi Xiaoye took a small portion and cooked some noodles for herself. Then she stir-fried a side dish and sat in the dining room, wolfing down the food. Xiao Qin. Why does she look like a reincarnated hungry ghost? Xin Jingxian was stunned. I don't know. Maybe she ate too much instant noodles, Xiao Qin said. Xiao Qin, where did you buy these ingredients? Yi Xiaoye was not a reincarnated hungry ghost, but the ingredients were so delicious that she wanted to have a second bite. So she wolfed down the food. Oh. Xiao Qin was slightly stunned and then he smiled bitterly. He finally understood the reason why Yi Xiaoye wolfed down the food. It turned out to be because of his ingredients. When Xiao Qin washed the vegetables, he injected his primordial energy into them. Later, Yi Xiaoye asked him for it, so he forgot about it. As a result, Yi Xiaoye felt that it was extremely delicious. It's at the farm shop at the entrance of the villa. Really? Yi Xiaoye was a little puzzled. Could it be that it's all green farming? The taste is really good. Maybe. Xiao Qin didn't dare to say anything more. Yi Xiaoye finished eating quickly. She was a little unsatisfied, but it wasn't good to eat more. She cleaned up the dishes and went upstairs. It really feels cold. Xin Jingxian said, Xiao Qin, can we go find someone? Let's go. Xiao Qin stood up and went upstairs slowly. You know where they are hiding, right? Xin Jingxian suddenly asked. Oh yes. Xiao Qin nodded. Otherwise, if Jin Beibei crashed into him, he might be fine, but the strong impact might make Jin Beibei feel very uncomfortable. In this way, Jin Beibei basically didn't feel uncomfortable lying on Xiao Qin's body. However, their posture was slightly unsightly. It was as if Jin Beibei had pushed Xiao Qin down. Holy **T. It's always said that it's cool to push someone down. It's really cool to ride on my cousin-in-law. No wonder cousin Menjing likes to be a queen. Jin Beibei said. Cheng Menjing was about to ask how Jin Beibei and Xiao Qin were doing, but when she heard the first half of Jin Beibei's sentence, she was immediately infuriated. What nonsense are you talking about? However, the second half of Jin Beibei's sentence almost infuriated her. How come I'm the topic of conversation? What kind of queen am I? I told you that it was a misunderstanding last time. Beibei, you're not dead, are you? If you're not dead, get up. Cheng Menjing snorted and said fiercely. Oh, cousin Menjing is so protective of her food. I didn't really push her. I only pretended to push her, Jin Beibei said with a pout. Shoo shoo shoo, you almost died just now. You're always looking for trouble. Let's see what you can do without Xiao Qin. Cheng Menjing lectured. Isn't that because I have a cousin-in-law? It's all because of you, cousin, and your cousin-in-law, said Jin Beibei. He is a servant selected by me. Of course he is capable. If he is not, I will fire him. Cheng Menjing said. Jin Beibei's words made Xin Jingxuan's heart tighten a little. She could tell that Jin Beibei seemed to want Xiao Qin to be her cousin-in-law. Otherwise, she wouldn't have called him her cousin-in-law every time she opened her mouth. Xin Jingxian knew Jin Beibei very well. She was very clear about her likes and dislikes. It was impossible for her to talk about someone she did not like very often. She would only talk about someone she liked very often. However, had Menjing been treating Xiao Qin as a servant all the time? To be honest, Although the women of the ancient warrior families didn't mind having multiple wives, one of them had to be the legal wife, right? Qing Minjing was her bestie, and Xiao Chen was her bestie's ex-fiancé. If she snatched him away, it wouldn't make sense at all. Shen Jingxian was afraid that the sisters would not get along with each other because of such things, which would be a real headache for her. However, what could she do? Xiao Chen had to admit that it did feel quite good to be jumped on by Jin Beibei just now. However, it was inappropriate for Xiao Chen to enjoy himself in front of Shen Jingxian either. He helped Jin Beibei to her feet and stood up himself. Alright, hide and seek is a draw, isn't it? Let's play something else instead of such a dangerous game. You're right. Intimidated by Jin Beibei, Qing Minjing did not dare to play anymore. Shen Jingxian looked at Jin Beibei and Xiao Chen, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. These two, the two of them are like starving ghosts. Forget about them. Qing Minjing said, let's eat our own food, but Xiao Chen's cooking is really delicious. Soon, Shen Jingxian understood why Qing Minjing said so. It was more than delicious. It was simply too delicious. She suddenly envied Qing Minjing's good fortune. Xiao Chen was truly a full-time expert now. Therefore, although Xiao Chen had cooked a lot, in the end, almost all the food on the table was gone. Even Shen Jingxian made an exception and ate a lot. She did not even have the main course but only the side dishes. She was almost stuffed. Jingxian, I didn't know that you could eat so much, Qing Minjing said with a smile. You never brought me to eat such delicious food before. Are you my bestie? Shen Jingxian felt that it was too delicious. She had never tasted such delicious food in her life. If she stayed with Xiao Chen in the future, would she be able to eat it every day? No, she could not eat it every day or she would turn into a fat girl. Xiao Chen would certainly not like it. But Tang Tang seemed to be an exception. I didn't have a chance before, Qing Minjing said. Besides, didn't you eat the roasted shark last time? All right. Shen Jingxian thought of the delicious shark last week. After the meal, no one was willing to move. So Jin Beibei suggested that they play mahjong. In this way, they did not need to move and could digest the food. Neither Qing Minjing nor Shen Jingxian had any objection, nor did Xiao Chen. In this villa, there were many things left by the previous owners, including mahjong. Xiao Chen went to find them. Then they set up a mahjong game on the table. The mahjong table was set up. Different places had different ways of playing. They were all from Songning City, so they played Songning mahjong. After a few rounds of mahjong, some of them won and some lost. However, Xiao Chen suddenly felt a pain on his thigh. He was stunned and turned around to look at Jin Beibei, who was sitting next to him, only to find that Jin Beibei was blinking at him secretly. Xiao Chen was a little confused. Why did Jin Beibei pinch me? However, before Xiao Chen figured out what was going on, he felt a heat on his thigh. It was Jin Beibei who put her hand on his thigh. What's going on? Is Jin Beibei playing a rogue? Could it be that Jin Beibei had gotten used to pushing him back and had started to flirt with him? However, Xiao Chen thought it was unlikely. So, he looked at Jin Beibei calmly. However, his puzzled look made Jin Beibei even bolder. She even hooked her finger on Xiao Chen's thigh. What is she trying to do? If it was Shen Jingxian who did it, Xiao Chen could understand. However, since it was Jin Beibei, Xiao Chen couldn't understand at all. Even though Jin Beibei was a little bold in her words, she had never done anything outrageous. Sambing. My cousin-in-law and I are telepathic. How is it cheating? Qing Minjing stood up and said, I don't think it is right. Why don't we switch seats so that you don't have to sit next to him? That's fine. Beibei is lucky. He can have whatever he wants. Although Jin Beibei could not cheat anymore, she was still reluctant to admit it. Of course, she would never admit it. Otherwise, Qing Minjing would never play with her again. After switching seats, the cards were rearranged and everybody began to draw their cards. Qing Minjing looked at Xiao Chen suspiciously and then at Jin Beibei. Although she did not know what the two of them were up to, she believed that something was definitely wrong. Xiao Chen and Jin Beibei were very close to each other. The two of them often played tricks. Chances were that they were really up to something. However, if the two of them were separated, they would not be able to play any tricks anymore. I'd like to see if you can still win this time, Beibei, Qing Minjing said. I have unparalleled luck. So I can still win. Besides, he did not cheat at all. Jin Beibei said calmly. As it turned out, Jin Beibei was right. Although they had switched seats, Xiao Chen was still playing and winning whatever cards Jin Beibei was playing. There was no restriction on who was playing the cards, and Jin Beibei was still winning. This time, Qing Minjing did not think that Xiao Chen was helping Jin Beibei to cheat. The two of them were 20 meters away from each other. Even whispering and hinting would not work. How could Xiao Qin continue playing the cards that she needed? Chapter 280. Xiao Qin, why do you always play the cards that Beibei needs? Qing Minjing was very angry. It seemed that Xiao Qin was really unlucky. Xiao Qin secretly felt it was a little funny. In order not to be exposed, Xiao Qin could only use his divine sense to remember the sequence of all the mahjong tiles. Then he knew what Beibei had. In this way he could play the cards that Jean Beibei wanted. Before, Jean Beibei thought it was an accident. However, after several consecutive games, Xiao Qin played whatever she needed. This time Jean Beibei was a little confused. How did Xiao Qin do it? She had hinted before, but now she didn't. How did he play the cards? Is my brother-in-law really a transformer with special abilities? Thinking of this, Jean Beibei was a little excited. This is the god of gamblers. Next time I will take my brother-in-law to make money. It will be a pity if I don't make use of him. As the game went on, Xiao Qin played and Jean Beibei won. At the beginning it was quite fun. However, after Jean Beibei won too many times, it became boring. Therefore the game ended hastily. In the evening it was almost time for Xin Jingxian to go back. Xiao Qin, send Jingxian back. She didn't drive here, Qing Minjing told Xiao Qin. Okay. Xiao Qin naturally couldn't refuse. Even if the eldest miss didn't ask, he would have volunteered. On the surface, Xin Jingxian didn't seem to be any different. She had her signature smile on her face as if she was very kind to everything. After leaving the villa, Xin Jingxian got in the Land Rover and let out a sigh of relief. I suddenly find that disguising is so tiring. Xiao Qin, how did you disguise yourself before? How could you disguise yourself for so long? After such a short time I already feel uneasy. Just get used to it. You won't be in danger even if you don't disguise yourself. But I'm different. There are too many families that want to replace the Xiao family, Xiao Qin said as he started the car. Xin Jingxian put down the back of the seat to make herself more comfortable. Yeah, I suddenly feel that you've had a hard time all these years. Not bad. Lie down. Are you going to have sex with me? Xiao Qin asked. Go to hell. Xin Jingxian rolled her eyes at Xiao Qin. Why don't you say that? Xiao Qin, don't say such things. It's not good. Xiao Qin imitated Xin Jingshuan's previous tone and said, I don't want to say it. You won't listen if I say it. Xin Jingxian lay on the chair lazily. She paused and said, I think it's good for lovers to talk about these things occasionally. You're a little different. Xiao Qin sighed. The more he interacted with a goddess, the less one would be a goddess. How is it different? By the way, I haven't asked you yet. What's going on between you and Jean Beibei? Do you like her? Xin Jingxian suddenly asked. Why do you say that? Xiao Qin was slightly stunned. If you don't like her, why did you help her cheat? Minjing doesn't know, but I do. You must have sensed her cards with some kind of perception, Xin Jingxian said. Beibei is just like that. She likes to play and she calls me her cousin-in-law every day. She wants me to help her cheat and I can't very well reject her. Xiao Qin admitted to cheating. He knew that he couldn't hide it from Xin Jingxian. Cousin-in-law, you're quite happy being a cousin-in-law and sister-in-law. Your relationship. Xin Jingxian pursed her lips and said, You must like her. You like her. Xiao Qin didn't know what to say. It turned out that Goddess Xin, who had always been kind, could also be unreasonable. It seemed that in many situations, women would change from their original appearance when they were familiar with you. Hey, why aren't you talking? I'm joking with you. Xin Jingxian saw that Xiao Qin was silent and thought he was angry. She didn't know when she started to care about Xiao Qin's emotions. I know. It's useless for me to explain. Anyway, you know what kind of person I am? Xiao Qin said with a bitter smile. It seemed that his previous image was too deep-rooted. Well, don't contact me or send me messages normally. I'm afraid my family and Qin Jinping will see it, Xin Jingxian reminded him. Okay. Xiao Qin nodded. Xin Jingshuan's house was in front. Xiao Qin stopped the car by the roadside and turned to look at Xin Jingxian. What? Why did you stop? Xin Jingxian asked. Nothing. I'm just a little reluctant. It doesn't feel real, said Xiao Qin. Xin Jingxian took the initiative to hold Xiao Qin's hand. Me too. Feels like everything is too sudden. I'm not mentally prepared yet. 2 weekends had completely changed the trajectory of Xin Jingshuan's life. In the past, she had never dreamed that she would be with Xiao Qin. They were completely different people. But now, it was so natural for them to be together. Xiao Qin silently started the car and drove in the direction of the Xin family. The car stopped at the door of the Xin family. Xiao Qin didn't say anything more. Although there was a trace of reluctance in his eyes, he still said, goodbye, and Shen Jingxian was also a little reluctant in her heart. She didn't know when she would see Xiao Chen again. Of course, as long as Chao Yuliang and Qin Jinping dealt with Xiao Chen, then they would have a chance to see each other. However, on the one hand, Shen Jingxian wanted to see Xiao Chen. On the other hand, she didn't want Chao Yuliang and Qin Jinping to deal with Xiao Chen. If they looked for Xiao Chen, it meant that they had come up with a conspiracy to deal with Xiao Chen again. Xiao Chen started the car. Just like last time, it drifted beautifully and drove away from the Shen family's courtyard. Shen Jingxian reluctantly watched Xiao Chen's car leave inside. Shen, did Jinping send you back? Why are you so early today? Xiao Chen ran and the black ball followed behind him. When Xiao Chen turned, the black ball also turned. This really made Xiao Chen speechless. This old demon Shishan didn't do anything. He didn't release any big moves, but he already made it difficult for Xiao Chen to move an inch. It seemed that this gap of one level wasn't something that could be easily overcome. However, what Xiao Chen didn't know was that although old demon Shishan had the strength of a 6th level evil cultivator, his strength had dropped because he was injured in the past. The martial technique he could use was above the 6th level. Although the effect wasn't as good as his peak strength, it was already very earth-shattering for a martial artist of the same level. This was also the reason why Xiao Chen felt that the other party was too powerful. One had to know that in old demon Shishan's peak state, his black ball was enough to kill a martial artist like Xiao Chen who was a level lower than him. The speed of the black ball was getting faster and faster. Finally, Xiao Chen couldn't dodge it and it directly hit Xiao Chen's back. Xiao Chen's body trembled. A tearing and burning pain spread throughout his body in an instant, causing Xiao Chen to shiver. The next moment he felt that his internal organs were also starting to be burned by this black ball. Xiao Chen quickly used the mantra to resist and repair. This black ball contains a lot of black qi. It won't dissipate for a while. Before it dissipates, it will devour your internal organs and body. Elder Heaven Ancestor's urgent voice came into Xiao Chen's ears. Chapter 282. Xiao Chen was shocked. He hurriedly sat cross-legged on the ground and circulated his mental cultivation method. However, he was extremely anxious in his heart. If old witch Shishan attacked him again at this moment, Xiao Chen would really be sent to heaven. Jia, little bastard, you're not dead yet? It seems that I've underestimated you. My disciple's death was not unjust. Old witch Shishan saw that Xiao Chen was not killed by his ultimate move. Instead, he was resisting it. He was surprised. But let's see what you'll do next. I wonder if you can resolve this move of mine? After saying that, old witch Shishan stretched out his palm. The black ball in his palm condensed again. When Xiao Chen saw this, he almost cried. Damn it, am I going to die here today? I didn't die even after being pushed off the cliff. Am I going to be killed by this old witch Shishan? Go to hell. Old witch Shishan's palm shook. The black ball suddenly smashed towards Xiao Chen's chest. Elder Heaven Ancestor. Xiao Chen didn't want to die. However, he couldn't move his body. He could only ask the Elder Heaven Ancestor in his heart. At the same time, his mind was quickly thinking about how to resolve this killer move. I can only try. I can't guarantee that I can take it. The Elder Heaven Ancestor's voice was a little solemn. Obviously, he wasn't very confident. After this, I may enter a coma again. When that time comes, I'm not sure when I'll wake up. In the future, you'll have to rely on yourself, Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen was stunned. He suddenly felt sad. Why did the words of the Elder Heaven Ancestor sound like he was going to the execution ground? However, at this critical moment, a woman's voice suddenly rang out. So it's here. Along with the voice, a black shadow quickly appeared in front of Xiao Chen. With a wave of his hand, a bright red ribbon flew towards the black ball that was smashing towards Xiao Chen. Boom. With a loud bang, the red ribbon hit the black balloon. The two made a huge explosion in the air, but the red ribbon only trembled a few times, while the black balloon disappeared. What a strong woman. Xiao Chen heaved a sigh of relief. He had almost died. Fortunately, this woman had appeared in time. Xiao Chen could only see her back. The woman's back was facing him. Xiao Chen could only see her exquisite and beautiful figure, but he didn't know what she looked like. Although he didn't see her, he didn't have any impression of this woman in Xiao Chen's memory. Whether it was her voice or figure, Xiao Chen wasn't familiar with them. From the looks of it, it should be someone he didn't know. Who are you? Old Witch of West Mountain looked at the woman who had suddenly appeared in front of him with shock and vigilance. Deputy Team Leader of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's Team C, the woman in black said lightly. What? Someone from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? You actually discovered me? No wonder you haven't been executed after being wanted for so many years. It's too late to know. Go to hell. After destroying the woman in black's red ribbon, Old Witch of West Mountain sneered. Then he shook his palm again. A black balloon jumped out and smashed towards the woman in black. Dodge it. Xiaoqin was shocked. He was very clear about the damage that the black balloon would cause if it exploded on his body. If it hit the woman in black, he was afraid that it would be terrible. It wasn't that Xiaoqin sympathized with her. Xiaoqin didn't even know what she looked like, and it was his first time meeting her. Of course he wouldn't sympathize with her. The main problem was that she was now Xiaoqin's only hope. If Xiaoqin didn't have this black-clothed woman to help him fight back while he was recuperating here, then he might very well die here today. No, I can't let anything happen to the woman in black. If something happens to her, then Xiaoqin will die. The woman in black's reaction was also fast. However, after losing her weapon, she didn't dare to fight the black balloon head-on. However, the same situation as Xiaoqin previously appeared. She was running in front while the black balloon chased behind her. Although the woman in black's dodging skills were better than Xiaoqin's, she was still tired of dealing with it. You're quite agile. It seems that your skills in bed aren't bad either. Old Witch of West Mountain laughed evilly. He flipped his hand again and a black balloon shot out from his palm, smashing towards the woman in black. This black balloon was aimed at the woman in black from the front. This time, the two black balloons formed a pincer attack, making it impossible for the woman in black to dodge. Whoosh! The woman in black's qinggong made Xiaoqin exclaim in admiration. Under such circumstances, she was still able to move her body to the side and avoid the pursuit of the two black balloons. A trace of anxiety flashed in the woman's eyes. Evil cultivators were indeed more difficult to deal with than normal martial cultivators. However, she was alone. She was here to investigate Brother Hei Feng and didn't expect to have a combat mission. This was only a temporary mission, so it was difficult for her to deal with it without the support of her companions. However, controlling two black balloons was obviously Old Witch of West Mountain's limit. He didn't activate the third black balloon. Instead, he waved both his hands and directed the two black balloons to chase after the woman in black again. The woman in black could also see that controlling the two black balloons required a lot of physical strength and true qi. Old Witch of West Mountain was also going all out. At this time, if someone could sneak attack Old Witch of West Mountain, it was very likely that Old Witch of West Mountain would go to hell. However, she glanced at Xiaoqin, who was healing on the ground. It was obvious that Xiaoqin couldn't even protect himself, let alone sneak attack Old Witch of West Mountain. If the sneak attack failed and Old Witch of West Mountain directed one of the black balloons to blow him up, then this person would be finished. Although in most cases martial artists were indifferent and the life and death of others had nothing to do with them, Song Huawu was different. She was a member of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. She couldn't harm the lives of ordinary martial artists. If she encountered a martial artist who was injured or in danger, she would also lend a helping hand. This was also the responsibility of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, so she couldn't let Xiaoqin be cannon fodder. Song Huawu's eyes flashed with anxiety again as she dodged the two black balloons with great difficulty. Although her strength was above Old Witch of West Mountain, Old Witch of West Mountain's moves were extremely powerful, making up for the difference in strength between the two of them. Be careful. Seeing that the two black balloons were about to explode the woman in black into a sandwich, Xiaoqin couldn't help but exclaim again. Song Huawu was also shocked at this moment. Old Witch of West Mountain was not a kind person. During the process of her dodging, he found the pattern of her dodging. The two black balloons once again turned into a pincer attack, directly attacking her. This time they came from a different position. In other words, she had nowhere to hide. No matter if she went left or right, she would inevitably be swept by one of the black balloons. As long as one black balloon succeeded, the other one would follow. In this way, Song Huawu had nowhere to hide. You go and kill him. Xiaoqin clenched his teeth and suddenly stood up. He abruptly pressed the woman in black's body down, causing her to lie flat on the ground. Xiaoqin, on the other hand, stood at her original position. Next, an amazing scene appeared. The two black balloons exploded towards Xiaoqin's body one after another. Boom! With a loud bang, the two black balloons exploded on Xiaoqin's body. Xiaoqin spat out a mouthful of blood and his whole body directly collapsed to the ground. Fortunately, Xiaoqin had been circulating the Heaven's Stolen Fortune battle art, so he was able to hang on to his last breath and didn't die directly. Chapter 283. After falling to the ground, Xiaoqin hurriedly gritted his teeth and continued to circulate the mantra to use his essence energy to heal his injuries. I can't die, I absolutely can't die. I have to hold on, I have to hold on. Song Huawu was slightly taken aback when she was pushed by Xiao Chen. She never expected that Xiao Chen would use such a method to save her and create an opportunity for her to kill old demon Shishan. Old demon Shishan had been controlling 2 black balloons previously, so his stamina was almost exhausted. It was impossible for him to condense another black balloon in a short period of time. Therefore, taking advantage of this gap, Song Huawu flew out and punched old demon Shishan's forehead. You're courting death. Old demon Shishan was alarmed and wanted to dodge, but he never expected that Song Huawu's fist was actually a feint. The real killing move was hidden in Song Huawu's right leg. Song Huawu's right leg kicked out and directly kicked old demon Shishan's lower abdomen. Her beautiful and sturdy calf hooked and spread, sending old demon Shishan flying with a ouch. Dance leg was Song Huawu's ultimate move. Just like the red ribbon from before, it was only suitable for melee attacks. Song Huawu's moves were very beautiful, as though she was dancing. Xiao Chen had to praise her. This girl's figure and dance moves were really good, but he wondered what she looked like. Song Huawu was wearing a mask, so he couldn't see her face clearly. However, Xiao Chen didn't want to know. All he wanted now was to live. Xiao Chen heaved a sigh of relief when he saw old demon Shishan being sent flying with a kick. He circulated his mental cultivation method with all his might, but he felt that his Yuan Qi was insufficient. The surrounding heaven and earth spiritual energy was just too weak. With the current situation, it was very difficult for him to recover from his injuries. However, he couldn't delay his injuries because the black balloon had yet to be completely dissolved. It was still devouring Xiao Chen's flesh and blood. Xiao Chen had no choice but to constantly circulate the mantra to resist. You broke my ribbon and dared to scold me. You even dared to hit me with a black balloon. I'll stomp you to death. Stomp, 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 stomp. What happened next shocked Xiao Chen. Song Huawu caught up to old goblin Shishan, who was sent flying, and began to stomp on his body crazily. Xiao Chen was speechless. It seemed that he could offend anyone but a woman. This old demon of West Mountain was too unlucky. In the end he was trampled to death. How painful. Old demon Shishan foamed at the mouth and his eyes bulged, but he couldn't speak. He was obviously very unwilling, but there was nothing he could do. He died with everlasting regret. Xiao Chen did not have the mood to study whether old Fei Shishan had died in pain or not. Who is fighting in front? Why is there an evil aura? I am the inspector of the Songning Martial Artist Guild. The person in front, quickly report your name. There were 3 people in this group, and the leader actually had the strength of a Stage 8 Inner Force martial artist. Supernatural Investigation Bureau Team C Deputy Team Leader Song Huawu. Song Huawu was afraid to disturb Xiao Chen, so she quickly walked over and stopped them. This is my ID. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau is handling a case. It's okay, you can go back. So it's Team Leader Song, sorry for not recognizing you. The person looked at Song Huawu's ID, cupped his fists and did not say much. He turned around and left with his people. Fortunately, Xiao Chen's back was facing them, so they didn't pay much attention. The Martial Artist Guild Stage 8 Inner Force martial artists probably knew Xiao Chen, the good-for-nothing from the Xiao family. Fortunately, they didn't see him. Soon, Song Huawu returned and continued to guard by Xiao Chen's side. With the help of the spiritual jade, Xiao Chen's injuries recovered quickly. When all the injuries were healed, suddenly Xiao Chen felt the opportunity to break through the barrier. However, Xiao Chen suddenly hesitated. This woman in black was from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, and he was a cultivator. She might not have felt anything when he secretly circulated the mental cultivation method to heal his injuries, but if he wanted to break through, the surrounding spiritual energy would probably be mobilized. What if she found anything strange at that time? However, Xiao Chen was not willing to give up just like that. One must know that this opportunity was not easy to come by, and it was fleeting. If he missed this opportunity, there would be no more. If he didn't break through now, then he didn't know how long he would have to wait to break through later. To break through or not to break through? After hesitating for a moment, Xiao Chen clenched his teeth. He decided to break through. After all, he had waited for this opportunity for too long. If he had the strength of a level 5 refinement stage cultivator, would he have been beaten so badly by old witch Shishan today? Obviously not. After making up his mind, Xiao Chen continued to circulate the mental cultivation method. Suddenly, he felt a burning sensation from the point of contact between his palm and the ancient jade to the rest of his body. Finally, it gathered at Xiao Chen's lower abdomen and suddenly erupted out of control. The intense burning sensation spread throughout his body in an instant. This sudden inhuman pain almost made Xiao Qin cry out. However, with his strong willpower, Xiao Qin managed to endure it. The burning sensation in his lower abdomen transformed into violent yuan qi and circulated throughout Xiao Qin's body. Chapter 284. Forget it. It's nothing. You can go. Song Huawu nodded. I didn't save you today, but you saved me. It's considered a mutual rescue. You don't have to owe me any favors. Okay. Xiao Qin was stunned. He didn't expect Song Huawu to say this. This chick is really interesting. I can owe her a favor, but she refused. He looked at Song Huawu up and down. This woman's figure seems to be quite good. Her pair of slender legs is even more charming. It's just that her face is covered. I don't know what she looks like. However, this was probably the first and last time Xiao Qin and her met, because Xiao Qin didn't think that he would have any interaction with her in the future. After getting in the car, Xiao Qin quickly started the car and left, leaving Song Huawu alone to clean up the body of Old Witch of Xishan. Song Huawu said to herself, I don't know what will happen in Songning. Two important figures of the demon sect appeared here, and there is also a demon sect rogue cultivator. Is it really just a coincidence? Although the disciples of the demon sect did not harm people like the evil cultivators, they had always been a relatively special group. They were ostracized by some famous sections. Although on the surface the two forces coexisted peacefully, in private there were still fighting summits. Every time there was a competition at the summit, there would be innocent disciples dying. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau wanted to stop it, but they couldn't. This kind of private thing was repeatedly prohibited. Now two important figures of the demon sect appeared in Songning City. Is there a summit being held here? Or am I thinking too much? She was going to report to the higher-ups after returning. After all, this was not a small matter. The identities of these two were very special. Once something went wrong, it would be a catastrophe for the underworld. The few forces behind them would never let it go, especially one of them. His identity was a bit sensitive. Song Huawu had a headache thinking of this. She originally came to investigate Brother Heifeng's matter. She didn't expect so many follow-up troubles. After taking away Old Witch of Xishan's corpse, the place returned to its previous tranquility. After Xiao Qin got in the car and drove for a distance, he dialed Zhang Tianhao's number. No matter what, Zhang Tianhao was still a good person. Xiao Qin wanted to dispel his worries. Hello. Zhang Tianhao carefully picked up the phone because he didn't know who was calling. Was it White Fox or Witch Xishan who had already won? Zhang Tianhao, it's me. Xishan old monster is dead. You don't have to worry, Xiao Qin said lightly. Ah, dead. Zhang Tianhao was stunned. After confirming that it was indeed the White Fox's voice, he was overjoyed. I knew that the White Fox hero is the most powerful. What's the big deal about the West Mountain Demon? Kill him. Think of another way. This kind of good quality spirit jade is not bad. I know it's not bad, but I also need some way to get it. If I look for spirit jades with great fanfare, I will definitely be suspected by others. God knows if there are other cultivators. Xiao Qin said. I can't do anything about this. After all, so many years have passed. What I see and what I know are not the same. For the time being, I can't help you in Songning City. If your strength is higher, I can tell you a place where you can go and get some of the treasures I hid in the past. The Elder Heaven Ancestor said, if I remember correctly, there should be spirit jades in there. Treasures? Where is it? Xiao Qin asked with some excitement. Oh, it's very far. Moreover, with your strength, you can't even open the first level restriction. Going there is no use. The Elder Heaven Ancestor poured cold water on him. Alright, what special ability does a cultivator in the 5th level have? Xiao Qin was more concerned about this question. The special ability of a cultivator in the 5th level of the refinement stage. Look at it yourself. Why do you always ask me? The Elder Heaven Ancestor said. Xiao Qin quickly looked at the special ability of a cultivator in the 5th level of the refinement stage in his mind. It was the extension of illusion. It could change one's appearance for a short period of time, but not for too long because it would consume one's energy. Once the energy was exhausted, one would revert to their original appearance. This ability was somewhat useful for Xiao Qin, but it wasn't very useful. At most, he could change his appearance when he wasn't wearing the White Fox mask or when the mask was taken off. As for other uses, Xiao Qin hadn't figured them out yet. However, it should be useful at a critical moment. After driving the car back to the villa area, Xiao Qin returned home. However, Xiao Qin's embarrassed look stunned Cheng Minjing and Jean Beibei. What's wrong with you? Did you encounter a fire or? Looking at Xiao Qin, whose shirt was burnt black and most of it had turned into ashes, Qing Menjing asked in confusion. It's nothing. I was somehow implicated, Xiao Qin said. Anyway, many people want to kill me today. Qing Menjing nodded and didn't ask any more. It was true that many people wanted to kill Xiao Qin today. Even if she asked, she wouldn't get any answers. I'm going back to my room to take a shower, Xiao Qin said. I'll come out to cook later. After returning to his room, Xiao Qin boiled the medicinal herbs in the electric clay pot and then went to take a hot shower. Xiao Qin hadn't tested the strength of the 5th level of the Qi refinement stage yet. However, he needed to consolidate it first. Song Huawu returned to her temporary residence in Songning City. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau had a public house in every city. Song Huawu was currently living here temporarily. The corpse of the old witch of Xishan had been sent back to the headquarters through her channel. At this moment, Song Huawu was reporting to her boss, the leader of Team C, Yang Jiannan. Xiaowu, you did a good job. The old witch of Xishan is a demonic cultivator wanted by the Supernatural Investigation Bureau for a long time. It wasn't easy for you to capture him today. Don't worry, I'll ask for credit for you. Yang Jiannan said, as for the matter of the demonic sect that you mentioned, it can be a big or small matter. I suggest you stay in Songning City for a while. It's best to investigate their purpose. Okay, I understand. Song Huawu nodded. Xiaowu, if it's boring for you to be alone, I'll see if I can apply to accompany you. Yang Jiannan said softly. No need, Team Leader Yang. This isn't a big case. I can handle it alone. Song Huawu said indifferently. Okay, Xiaowu. Girls shouldn't be too strong-willed. If you encounter any difficulties, tell me. I'll be there as soon as possible. Yang Jiannan said. Thank you, Team Leader Yang. Song Huawu replied. I told you to call me Brother Nan in private. You don't have to be so polite. Yang Jiannan said. Song Huawu's eyes flashed with a trace of helplessness. She said indifferently, it's work now. Okay. Take care of yourself. Yang Jiannan laughed. After hanging up the phone, Song Huawu frowned slightly. Yang Jiannan's pursuit of her was no secret in Team C. Even the other teams knew about it. Many people thought that Song Huawu was promoted because of Yang Jiannan. In fact, that was not the case. Song Huawu was also capable. It was just that Yang Jiannan often claimed to be Song Huawu's boyfriend. This made Song Huawu feel helpless but also made others believe it. After all, the more people said it, the more people would believe it. Song Huawu didn't like to explain these things. The more she explained, the more unclear it would be. Chapter 285. Song Huawu didn't like Yang Jiannan. She always felt that Yang Jiannan wasn't masculine at all. His personality was very feminine. Although his strength was there, Song Huawu didn't like this type. However, in terms of work, it was inevitable that the two of them would often come into contact. One was the team leader and the other was the deputy team leader. It was impossible to avoid them. Therefore, Song Huawu could only constantly ask for missions. This time, she stayed in Songning City for this reason. If she went back, Yang Jiannan's attentiveness every day would be unbearable. Yang Jiannan hung up the phone, and a trace of femininity flashed in his eyes. He snorted, you rejected me again and again. But it's okay. I have patience. Sooner or later I'll take you down. For the past 2 days, Yu Xiaochuan had been hanging out with Xiaosu. Not only did he constantly have sex with Xiaosu, but he also transferred Xiaosu's blood into his body. Then he used his mental cultivation to dissolve and fuse it into his body. However, what made Red Hair's hair stand on end was that Yu Xiaochuan's actions seemed to be more and more effeminate. His voice also became shrill. Although he was still a man and he could still sleep with Xiaosu, Red Hair still felt that something was wrong. However, Red Hair didn't dare to speak carelessly. Who knew what kind of mystical martial arts Yu Xiaochuan was practicing? In order to live a few more days, he didn't dare to ask about these confidential things. Of course, a person's change was usually undetectable by oneself. This was the saying, the onlooker sees the game more clearly. Red Hair saw everything clearly. However, Yu Xiaochuan didn't feel that there was anything wrong with him. He was still hanging out with Xiaosu. On Tang Tang's side, although Yu Xiaochuan really wanted to take her into his arms, there was still a more important matter at hand. If he mastered the Chrysanthemum treasure book, he would be able to dominate the world. What made Yu Xiaochuan happy was that after Xiaosu's blood fused with his, he could even slowly use the mantra of the first level of the Chrysanthemum treasure book. Although it wasn't particularly smooth, he believed that as long as he continued doing this, he could smoothly cultivate the Chrysanthemum treasure book. Therefore these few days Yu Xiaochuan was very happy. He even forgot about Tang Tang and Xiaoqin. Today when he thought about Tang Tang he gave old Master Tang a call. Xiaochuan, why did you call an old man like me? Tang Fangbai and Yu Xiaochuan had reached an agreement in private, so Tang Fangbai's attitude towards Yu Xiaochuan became polite. He already treated Yu Xiaochuan as his grandson-in-law. Grandpa Tang, I have good news for you. That mysterious woman is still very effective. I can already barely circulate the first layer of the chrysanthemum treasure book. Yu Xiaochuan said, how's the progress on your side? I've only just familiarized myself with the first level of the mantra. I didn't expect it to be so effective. Tang Fangbai immediately regretted his impatience. Yeah. Yu Xiaochuan said, I think we should hurry up on Tang Tang's side. Let her go back to the Tang family and wait for her marriage. Don't always hang out with Xiaoqin. It's not good if any rumors are spread. She doesn't have to go to school anymore. She can drop out of school. Anyway, she's a woman. It's good to stay at home to take care of her husband and children. This was the purpose of Yu Xiaochuan's call. Okay, I'll arrange it. Tang Fangbai nodded. I'll send someone to pick up Tang Tang in a while. In fact, I'm also afraid that the matter of your cultivation will be exposed. If that happens, I might be implicated. The fewer people who know about this matter, the better. I understand. That's why I chose Tang Tang. In fact, I can also choose other people, but Tang Tang can keep it a secret for us. Yu Xiaochuan said. I'll arrange it. You two should get engaged as soon as possible and then you can move to the Tang family. That way you and I can also learn from each other. Tang Fangbai said. Okay, the engagement must be done as soon as possible, but I'll think about moving over, Yu Xiaochuan said. However, Yu Xiaochuan also had to say that Tang Fangbai's suggestion was good. He didn't tell the Yu family about his cultivation of the chrysanthemum treasure book. All of this was carried out by him in private. Although the Yu family was a little puzzled by Yu Xiaochuan's draft, they didn't interfere too much. Old Master Yu had already begun to support Yu Xiaochuan's promotion, so as long as Yu Xiaochuan didn't do anything too out of line, he wouldn't interfere. As for the draft, it could at least increase the company's reputation, and it didn't cost much, so he didn't care too much. Therefore, Yu Xiaochuan didn't know whether his family would support his cultivation. Although cultivating the chrysanthemum treasure book might shock the world, the Yu family had always been a righteous family. If Old Master Yu really couldn't think of anything to stop him, then Yu Xiaochuan really couldn't do anything. After thinking about it, Yu Xiaochuan planned to act first and report later. When he had the strength, then everything would be easy. Tang Tang didn't expect that the Tang family would come so quickly. She had just closed the stall and returned to her temporary residence when the Tang family came. Miss Tang, the old master asked me to pick you up. The person who came was Old Master Tang's trusted butler, Old Master Zheng. Tang Tang naturally knew this person. This person had already served the Tang family when Tang Tang was born. Going back so soon? Tang Tang was a little surprised. She didn't expect her grandfather to send someone to pick her up. Although she had expected it, she didn't expect it to be so soon. It seemed that Yu Xiaochuan was putting pressure on them. No matter how hard Xiaoqin tried to stop him, it was not as important as a word from the Tang family. Tang Tang didn't want to go back, but she knew that she had to go back. With her grandfather's character, if she refused, he would force her to go back. This is the old master's order. Old Master Zheng said, please understand, Miss Tang. This old servant is also acting according to the master's order. I'll pack up. Tang Tang sighed. Can I make a phone call? The old master didn't say no. Old Master Zheng said. He was an old-fashioned person, so if there was, then there was. If there wasn't, then there wasn't. Tang Tang nodded and dialed Xiaoqian's number. She had to tell Xiaoqian that she was going to leave. Tomorrow morning she couldn't go to the morning market to sell fried dough sticks. This morning was the last time for the two of them. Perhaps the two of them would meet again in the future, but at that time things would be different. Tang Tang was already married. Between her and Xiaoqian they were really just ordinary friends or at most brothers. Tang Tang? Xiaoqian received a call from Tang Tang after taking a shower. It's me. I have to go. My family is coming to pick me up. Tang Tang's voice was indescribably lonely with deep helplessness, but there was no way. What? So soon? Xiaoqian was shocked. He didn't expect Yu Xiaochuan to make a move after all. Did he not care about the photos? As he was thinking about these things, Xiaoqian's cell phone prompted that there was a new call from SIM card 2. Xiaoqian glanced at it. It was actually a call from Yu Xiaochuan, but he didn't care about it. Well, take care. Tang Tang took a deep breath. I think it's more suitable for you and Sister Lin to be together. Miss Ching is not very suitable for you. I have a sense of propriety, but you? There was an indescribable feeling of sorrow in Xiao Chen's heart. He couldn't explain it clearly. He was reluctant to part with her, but it was not justified. It's nothing. Anyway, I accepted it in the past. It's just that I have a free life for a while. Speaking of it, it's still profitable. Tang Tang had always been so optimistic. Some things can be delayed. Xiao Chen said, on my side. In fact, it won't be long before I have the qualifications to talk to the Tang family. Well, I believe you. Tang Tang smiled. But did she really believe it? She didn't know Xiao Chen's strength. She was different from Jingxian. In her understanding, Xiao Chen was an ordinary person. She said so just for her own fantasy. Miss Tang, the head of the family, asked me to take you back immediately. Please pay attention to the time. Elder Jing saw that Tang Tang had been on the phone, so he said, help me tell Jing Xiaoquan that I may not be able to go to school tomorrow. Tang Tang knew that girls would not go to school until they were officially engaged at home. After the engagement, they would not go to school again. Okay. Xiao Chen was unspeakably sad in his heart. Well, that's enough. I'm hanging up. Tang Tang smiled. Cheer up. I'm not going to die. I'm just going to get engaged. After hanging up the phone, Tang Tang silently began to pack up her things. Xiao Chen took a deep breath and called Yu Xiaochuan. What's the matter? Xiao Chen's attitude was very bad. Hero White Fox, I'm young Master Kun. Yu Xiaochuan was stunned. He didn't expect this white fox to be so rude. I know. Why are you calling? If you have a fart, just say it. If not, I'll hang up. Xiao Chen said. Hero White Fox, I want to ask you. I won't kill Xiao Chen, but can you help me secretly delete the photos in Xiao Chen's mobile phone, and then find if there is a computer or camera in his house, and then delete all the data in it? Yu Xiaochuan wanted to solve this matter once and for all, so he thought of White Fox. Oh sure. Delete the phone for 10 million, go to his house for 20 million, a total of 30 million. Xiao Chen said. So much? Yu Xiaochuan was stunned. He didn't expect White Fox to be so greedy. He asked for 30 million. Can it be less? Then you find someone else. Xiao Chen said directly. Don't. Yu Xiaochuan couldn't find someone else. The fewer people who knew about this, the better. Yu Xiaochuan had worked with White Fox several times. He felt that this person's credibility was good. If he found someone else, he might not necessarily have a relationship with Xiao Chen. If Xiao Chen noticed it in advance and backed up 3 or 5 copies on the network hard disk, then Yu Xiaochuan really wanted to cry but had no tears. Chapter 286. Anything else? Xiao Chen asked. Okay. 30 million, right? I'll call you. Yu Xiaochuan said, but how can you prove that you deleted it? I'll go to Xiao Chen's room and secretly take a few photos of you and send them to him, Xiao Chen said. Okay. Yu Xiaochuan didn't suspect anything this time and nodded. Idiot. Xiao Chen hung up the phone and cursed. Then he went to cook for the young mistress and the others. When Xiao Chen went out, the young mistress and Jean Beibei weren't in the living room. Obviously they went upstairs. In the kitchen, Yi Xiaoya was there. Seeing Xiao Chen, Yi Xiaoya said, Xiao Chen, where did you buy those vegetables? Where did I buy them? Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. In the agricultural store at the entrance of the neighborhood. That can't be right. I went to buy them just now, but they were different from the ones you bought before. They didn't taste good. Yi Xiaoya said, are you lying to me? Why would I lie to you about this? Although Xiao Chen knew it, he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I don't need to lie to you. Maybe every batch of goods is different? Maybe. Yi Xiaoya could only believe it. After all, she was also puzzled. Xiao Chen wouldn't lie to her because it was meaningless to lie to her. Did you buy this celery? Why didn't you eat it? Xiao Chen saw a bag of celery by the stove and asked. I bought it. I wanted to stir-fry it, but I found it didn't taste good when I stir-fried noodles, so I didn't have the mood to stir-fry celery. Yi Xiaoya said, if you want it, you can have it. The celery is good. It seems to be the same as the batch I bought before. Maybe this celery is delicious. Xiao Chen said. Really? Yi Xiaoya was stunned and didn't believe it. I'll give you some when I'm done. Have a taste, Xiao Chen said. Okay. Yi Xiaoya nodded, but she still felt that it was unlikely. There were some leftover ingredients and some celery on Yi Xiaoya's side. Xiao Chen quickly made a few light side dishes and gave some to Yi Xiaoya. Have a taste. There's no need to taste it. I can tell from the fragrance that this celery is from yesterday's batch. Yi Xiaoya was a little depressed and said, This batch of ingredients is very delicious. I don't know where they got them. Today's is different. Maybe it's specially supplied to 5-star hotels, and the surplus is sold to agricultural stores, but this situation can't happen every day, Xiaoqin said. You know quite a lot. Yi Xiaoya ate the fried noodles while eating the stir-fried celery. She found the fried noodles extremely disgusting. By the way, how's my dog? You didn't kill it and eat its meat, did you? Xiaoqin suddenly remembered that he hadn't seen his super invincible dog in the universe for a few days, so he asked. No, I gave it an elixir and it fell asleep. It hasn't woken up yet? Yi Xiaoya said apologetically, but don't worry. It should be fine. Its body condition is normal. That's good. Xiaoqin was a little speechless. But he would let her do whatever she wanted. It would be fine as long as she didn't kill it. Young mistress and Jean Bebe went downstairs and Yi Xiaoya went upstairs. She didn't get along well with Jean Bebe and they might quarrel downstairs. However, Yi Xiaoya was no match for Jean Bebe, so she had to stay away. Boring. She ran away as soon as she saw Bebe. Jean Bebe squinted at the gloomy Yi Xiaoya and chuckled. All right, Bebe. If she doesn't provoke us, just let her be. Cheng Minjing wasn't a person who liked to cause trouble. Since Yi Xiaoya had retreated, she didn't have the intention to kill her. Oh, I'm hungry. I didn't have enough for lunch, Jean Bebe said. We ate in the afternoon. It's only been a few hours. Cheng Minjing glared at her. How can you eat so much? Cousin-in-law, you're hungry too, right? Jean Bebe asked. Hehe, it's all right, Xiaoqin said. Minjing, you should eat less too. This meal is rather light. Okay. Cheng Minjing sat down. She realized that she was losing her resistance to the delicacies made by Xiaoqin. She didn't want to eat at first, but she couldn't help but move her chopsticks when she smelled the aroma of the food. It's delicious. The celery is delicious. Cousin-in-law, you should eat. Jean Bebe said. Yes. It's delicious. Let's eat together. Xiaoqin nodded. He realized that it was fun to be silly with Jean Bebe sometimes. Hey, it's my birthday the day after tomorrow. I'll hold a birthday party at the Cheng family. You'll be my attendant. Cheng Minjing said as she looked at Xiaoqin, who was enjoying the food. Birthday party? Xiaoqin was stunned. Your birthday? I'm so angry. You don't even know my birthday? How did you become a fiancé before? Cheng Minjing was enraged by Xiaoqin's words. Xiaoqin didn't take her seriously at all. I'm just stunned. You've never invited me to your birthday parties before? Xiaoqin said with a bitter smile. Don't you have legs if I don't invite you? Why did you show up at Xinjingshuan's birthday party? Cheng Minjing glared at Xiaoqin fiercely. I'll be your attendant? Okay. Don't worry. I'll be a good attendant. Xiaoqin changed the topic. Humph. Cheng Minjing didn't want to dwell on this issue because it would only make her angrier. However, Xiaoqin didn't say anything. In fact, he was thinking in his heart. This was the first time he showed up in public since he was kicked out of the Xiao family. Was it a blessing or a curse? However, it was okay to see the real attitude of the Cheng family toward him. Xiaoqin knew all the descendants of the aristocratic families. After he was kicked out of the Xiao family, they contacted each other more or less frequently. Therefore, Xiaoqin didn't have any scruples or fears. Anyway, as long as he did his part, there was nothing to make things difficult for him. Only after Xiaoqin left the Xiao family did he deeply feel the misery of the Xiao family. Other families, although there was no lack of people like Chinair Bai, Idiot Chao and Yukaizi, but if Xiaoqin didn't have his current strength, if he wasn't a cultivator, then he would be a piece of trash that they could play with. I know. Xiaoqin nodded. The night after tomorrow after school, are we going directly from school? Yes, you drive, we will go directly. Cheng Minjing said. Then do I need to prepare any gifts? Asked Xiaoqin. Think about it yourself. Cheng Minjing snorted. But you didn't pay me a salary. I don't have money, said Xiaoqin. You cheated so much money. Did you eat it? Asked Cheng Minjing. Yeah, I bought medicine and ate it. Xiaoqin nodded. How did you know? Go to hell. Cheng Minjing didn't believe that Xiaoqin was telling the truth. She thought he was talking nonsense. How could medicine be so expensive? In the evening, Xiaoqin took the potion. After training, he clearly felt that his strength had been stabilized. He was now a cultivator at the 5th level of the Qi refinement stage. At this moment, his strength was equivalent to the strength of a martial artist at the 6th level of the inner force. His other abilities were even more difficult for a martial artist to match. After consolidating his strength, Xiaoqin took a few photos of his room for Yu Xiaochuan, then took a few photos at the door of the villa and sent them to him. After seeing the photos, Yu Xiaochuan was overjoyed. Chapter 287. Yu Xiaochuan did not expect the White Fox swordsman to be so helpful. The mission that he had assigned to him was completed on the same night. This made Yu Xiaochuan very happy to transfer 30 million yuan to the White Fox swordsman's account in the Warriors Guild. For the time being, Xiaochuan was not short of money. What he lacked was spiritual jades. Of course, this was also under the premise that the price of medicinal materials did not rise. If the price of medicinal materials continued to rise, he would enter a state of bankruptcy sooner or later. After all this was done, Xiaochuan lay on the bed and logged into the Warrior Guild's client. He found Yi Bia and sent her a private message. The Witch of Xishan appeared and stopped me on the road. But with the help of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, he was successfully dealt with. Yi Xiaoya's message came back after a while. White Fox, are you crazy? Why are you sending me a message in the middle of the night? But then Yi Xiaoya's message came back. What? The Witch of Xishan came? The Supernatural Investigation Bureau is here too? Who is it? Well, her name is Song Huowu, but she seems to be investigating a person called Brother Heifeng. This person was also on the task commission list, but he was later killed and turned in the task. Xiaochuan said. Song Huowu? It's her. She is a little biased against evil cultivators. You'd better not pay attention to her. Yi Xiaoya reminded him. Okay. Xiaochuan said. It was estimated that he would not see her for the rest of his life. I'm going to sleep. Talk to you another day. Yi Xiaoya was sleepy. Oh, you won't tell me that you are going to sleep and then turn around to chat with my idol, will you? Xiaochuan said. You are crazy. You are already an evil cultivator. Why are you still so bored? Yi Xiaoya sent a skull emoji. At 3 o'clock in the morning, Xiaochuan subconsciously wanted to get up and go to the morning market to sell breakfast. However, when he was dressed and ready to go out, Xiaochuan laughed at himself. Tang Tang had already left him. He would never appear in the morning market street again. The days when they sold fried dough sticks together in the morning market street could only be a beautiful memory. When Xiaochuan had just been driven out of the family and was at his most helpless and confused, this life in the morning market street occupied Xiaochuan's life. Every time he thought about it, Xiaochuan felt especially warm. But those days were gone forever. The next morning, Xiaochuan didn't go to the morning market again. Instead, he prepared breakfast for his mistress and Jean Bebe. After dawn, Yi Xiaoya came out to water the flower bed outside the villa and take care of her flowers and plants. Xiaochuan finally couldn't help but ask, Yi Xiaoya, what are you planting? Medicinal herbs? Yes. Yi Xiaoya nodded and said, some medicinal herbs are too expensive and difficult to buy, so I planted some myself. Oh, are you also a warrior? Are you an evil cultivator or a martial cultivator? Xiaochuan asked. Why do you ask this? Yi Xiaoya glanced at Xiaochuan and ignored him, saying, let's talk about it when you can cultivate yourself. Don't you feel tired living off a woman all the time? Xiaochuan was a little helpless. He just chatted with her casually, but the topic of living off a woman came back again. When the mistress went downstairs, she saw that Xiaochuan was also at home. She was a little surprised, asking, Xiaochuan, why didn't you go to the morning market street? Tang Tang went back to the Tang family. Xiaochuan sighed helplessly, saying, I guess she won't come to school again. She already went back. After listening, Qing Minjing became a little silent. She sympathized with Tang Tang because she used to be like this. She was afraid that one day she would suddenly be called back by her family and told that she had to marry Xiaochuan. But now, Qing Minjing was still afraid of being called back by her family. She was afraid that her family would marry her to another stranger, or to Chao Yuliang. At this time, Qing Minjing thought that it was better to marry Xiaochuan. Well, sometimes some things are involuntary. Xiaochuan sighed and said, I won't go to the morning market street in the future. Isn't Kerlin also at the morning market street? Qing Minjing asked, don't you go to find your little lover? There's nothing between me and her. Xiaochuan shook his head. Well, let's eat. I'm done. Oh. Seeing that Xiaochuan wasn't in a good mood, Qing Minjing didn't say anything more. For the whole day, Xiaochuan wasn't in a good mood. Although he knew that there would be such a day, who would have thought that this day would come so soon? Yu Xiaochuan once again completed the blood transfusion. After refining the blood with the mantra, according to the advice in the notes, he should have intercourse with Xiaosu at this time. But Yu Xiaochuan suddenly found that he seemed to have no interest in Xiaosu at all. In fact, before this he found that he had no interest in Xiaosu. Intercourse before the blood transfusion was just a routine. Could it be that he was tired of playing with Xiaosu? But no, even if he was tired he had to continue playing. In order to practice the Chrysanthemum Treasure Book, Yu Xiaochuan must continue playing until he vomited. Young Master Kun, why do you seem to have no interest in me? Are you tired of playing with me and don't want me anymore? With Yu Xiaochuan, it was hard for Xiaosu to get any satisfaction. Every day she would secretly look for Redhead to have an affair. But maintaining her relationship with Yu Xiaochuan was her way of earning money. So she had to control Yu Xiaochuan. Otherwise Yu Xiaochuan would throw her away after using her. Although he could give her some money, it wouldn't last long. How much money could a redhead have? Xiaosu originally didn't have such big ambitions, but after a few days with Yu Xiaochuan, this kind of upper-class life made her unable to extricate herself. Don't think too much. I'm a little tired these few days. Come, let's do it again. Yu Xiaochuan patted Xiaosu, motioning for her to come to the bed. Young Master Kun, I'm coming. Today I just learned a different trick on the internet. Let's try it together. Xiaosu said. Okay. Yu Xiaochuan nodded, but he realized that he didn't seem to be interested in any tricks at all. If it was in the past he would definitely be in a hurry to try it out. But now he took his time to undress. Xiaosu tried her best, but she still realized that Yu Xiaochuan was very cold towards her. This made Xiaosu feel very sad. She felt that her good days were coming to an end. Although it was more enjoyable with Redhead, Redhead wasn't as rich as Yu Xiaochuan. And Yu Xiaochuan also felt that it was time for him to change up his taste. Was it because he was a little tired from being with Xiaosu every day? Otherwise his fighting strength wouldn't be so low. Even if he couldn't be called a man who could do it 7 times a night, he could still do it 5 times a night. Now doing it twice a day wasn't very good. After barely finishing it with Xiaosu, Xiaosu walked out with a face of satisfaction, and left unsatisfied. Yu Xiaochuan called Redhead in. This made Xiaosu even more dissatisfied. She was just about to find Redhead to do it again, but she was called over by Yu Xiaochuan. This made her very depressed. Young Master Kun, you were looking for me? Redhead was originally going to find a place to do Xiaosu. Normally, after Yu Xiaochuan was done he would definitely rest for a while. But in reality Yu Xiaochuan was practicing his mantra. Yu Xiaochuan looked at Redhead's bulging crotch. He didn't know why, but he suddenly felt desire again. How was this possible? Yu Xiaochuan shook his head. He thought it was ridiculous. It must be that Xiaosu was tired of playing and didn't satisfy himself. That's why he's like this, Yu Xiaochuan thought. Help me find 2 young models. Hurry, Yu Xiaochuan said. Okay, I'll go now. Redhead nodded. Although he wanted to find Xiaosu as soon as possible, he couldn't ignore Yu Xiaochuan's orders. So he found his phone book and called a pimp manager. He picked up 2 young models for Yu Xiaochuan, and then he went to the agreed location to pick them up. Very soon the young models arrived. But Yu Xiaochuan tragically realized that he wasn't interested in them at all. When he saw them it was as if he saw his brothers. He couldn't even compare to Xiaosu. At least, Yu Xiaochuan could still force himself to have sex with Xiaosu because it was for cultivation. But no matter what he did with these 2 young models, Yu Xiaochuan didn't have any reaction. Helpless, Yu Xiaochuan could only give them some money to send them away. But it wasn't a waste. Since he had already found them he gave them the money anyway. In the end this made Xiaosu even more depressed. With the young models that Yu Xiaochuan rewarded, Redhead naturally threw Xiaosu aside. On Monday morning, Xiaochun drove the Land Rover to school with Missy and Jean Bebe. The rich Jean Bebe's car had not been repaired, so Missy and Jean Bebe could only hitch a ride with Xiaochun. Luckily Xiaochun was free today and didn't need to go to the morning street. Now there was no need to hide the relationship between Xiaochun and Qing Menjing. Anyway, Lu Zhiming knew it. Yu Xiaochuan and other members of his family also knew Xiaochun's identity, so Xiaochun didn't need to hide anything. At the school gate, Missy and Jean Bebe got out of the car first. Xiaochun drove to the parking lot and encountered Yu Xiaochuan's Audi A8L. Yesterday Yu Xiaochuan could manage to have sex with Xiaosu, but this morning he couldn't do it at all. Yu Xiaochuan transfused his blood gloomily and then came to school for a walk. He suspected that the pressure of practicing the Chrysanthemum book was too great, and he was too eager for quick success, so his body rejected it. Therefore Yu Xiaochuan came to school for a walk. Seeing Xiaochun, Yu Xiaochuan suddenly remembered that White Fox had finished the task yesterday, so he was in a good mood. He walked to Xiaochun with a smile. Xiaochun, where are your photos? Let me have a look. I'll give you the money after I'm sure. I don't know what happened to the photos, but they are all gone. Did you find a hacker to delete them? Xiao said gloomily. Ah, deleted them? Then I'm sorry I can't give you the money. Xiao was overjoyed. White Fox was really awesome. However, he suddenly felt that it was not a big deal. At this moment he didn't seem to care about it too much. What was going on? Chapter 288. You don't want to treat Tang Tang anymore? Are you going to let her give up the treatment and return to her previous appearance? Asked Xiao. This. Xiao wanted to say something, but he suddenly had a feeling that whether Tang Tang looked good or not, whether she was fat or not, had little to do with him. What is this situation? Xiao was a little confused. I don't like Tang Tang anymore? Do you agree or not? Xiao frowned. If you haven't thought about it, come to me when you have thought it through. Xiao, you are so domineering. Xiao suddenly said with a sharp voice, so stylish. What? Xiao looked at Xiao in amazement. Your brain is attacked by a virus? What nonsense are you talking about? Oh nothing. Let me think about it. Xiao sweated. Why did I suddenly say such a sentence? What's wrong with me? It must be because of the continuous practice in Xiaosu in the past few days. I didn't have a good rest and was a little insane. Whatever. Xiao shook his head and turned away. Today this Xiao seems to be weird. Is he stimulated by something? Xiao looked at Xiao's back and frowned. Why do I feel that Xiao is a little crazy? Is there a problem with practicing the Chrysanthemum treasure book? When he came to the class and looked at the empty seat, Xiao's mood became unprecedentedly heavy. This seat no longer belonged to Tang Tang. Maybe in a few days there would be a new desk mate sitting here. Hey, Tang Tang didn't come with you? Zheng Xiaoquan saw Xiao and didn't see Tang Tang. He asked with some surprise. Tang Tang went back to the Tang family. She won't come again. Xiao sighed. She asked me to tell you that it will be difficult to see you again. She went back. So soon. Zheng Xiaoquan was a little surprised and helpless at the same time. He also liked Tang Tang, but he also knew that it was impossible for him and Tang Tang to be together. He thought that Tang Tang would be with Xiao, but now it seemed that everything was destined. Tang Tang's appearance was restored, and what followed was Xiao's engagement. Zheng Xiaoquan was unable to change these things and Xiao was even more powerless. He patted Xiao's shoulder and said, forget it. We are brothers in hardship. Xiao is really shameless. Xiao nodded. There were some things that he couldn't say to Zheng Xiaoquan. After all, the Zheng family was no longer one of the 9 great families. Xiao didn't want him to get too involved and affect the Zheng family. Early this morning, at the entrance of Songning No. 2 High School, Director Su walked quickly to the side of a small Buick SUV. The principal had already informed him that a big shot was going to transfer to No. 2 High School. He asked Director Su to welcome her and help her with the enrollment procedures. Although Director Su didn't know which family's child it was with such a big show, could it be a relative of the school director's family? But since the principal had ordered, he still appeared here as soon as possible. Sure enough, he saw the Buick with the license plate number Song SSSS 55. It was rare to see a license plate with 3 letters at the beginning and 3 S's, especially when the first regional letter was also S, and it became 4 S's, which was even rarer. If it weren't for the big shot that the principal had instructed, he would even think that it was a fake license plate. In fact, this kind of license plate was only issued to some very special departments and institutions. It was normal that ordinary people didn't recognize it. For example, the Warrior Guild and the Warrior Market Square also had license plates beginning with Song S, but there wouldn't be so many S's. However, one thing was certain. Director Su knew that the person in the car beginning with Song S was likely to be a martial artist. This was because he had seen this kind of license plate in several ancient martial arts families. Of course, only a private school director like him who was funded by the Shen family would recognize it. Others wouldn't. When the girl saw Director Su staring at her license plate, she slapped her forehead and remembered that she had forgotten to change it. She didn't drive the car into the school. Instead, she got out of the car, took out another license plate from the trunk and changed it nimbly as if she did this kind of thing often. In an instant, her license plate number became Song TRR 313, which was a very common license plate number. Director Su, who was standing at the side, was a little stunned, but he didn't panic. Instead, he waited quietly for the girl to finish her work before saying, "Are you Miss Song? The principal asked me to pick you up." "Hello, Director Su." The girl nodded, took out a stack of documents from her bag, and handed it to Director Su. "This is my enrollment file, thank you." Oh, okay. Director Su saw that the girl didn't want to say more, so he didn't ask any more. He took the documents and glanced at it. The principal said that Miss Song wants to go to grade 12 class 1, right? Would you like to follow me now? Director Su, just call me Song Huawu. I'm your student now, so don't call me Miss Song. I'm not used to it. The girl smiled at Director Su. So, she was actually Song Huawu. However, what was surprising was that Song Huawu didn't wear a mask today. Her delicate face didn't have any makeup on, and her hair was casually combed at the back, just like a middle school student. If one didn't know about her feat that night, no one would think that she was actually a martial artist with Inner Force Stage 8. Okay, Song Huawu. Director Su nodded. Then park the car, I'll take you to grade 3 class 1. Thank you, Director Su. Tang Tang has dropped out of school and won't come to school in the future. That seat is empty. Oh? Well, Song Huawu, you sit next to Xiao Chen. Miss Wang nodded. Since Director Su had arranged it, she naturally would not object. In fact, Director Su also wondered why the principal even told Song Huawu's seat this time, but he still did as he was told. Song Huawu smiled and nodded. Then she walked to Xiao Chen's seat. Because Director Su had pointed out that there was an empty seat next to Xiao Chen in that direction, no one felt anything wrong when Song Huawu walked over. However, Xiao Chen frowned. He had felt that something was amiss earlier. Song Huawu? Wasn't she the deputy leader of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau that I met the night before yesterday? But at that time, Song Huawu was masked and wearing a small black windbreaker, which was not the same as her current appearance. So, Xiao Chen initially wondered if it was a coincidence. After all, it was difficult for Xiao Chen to associate the girl dressed like a student in front of him with a Stage 8 Inner Force warrior and the person who killed the Witch of Xishan. However, after listening to her voice, Xiao Chen began to have some doubts. Looking at her figure, it was quite similar. Now that she actually wanted to sit next to him, Xiao Chen suddenly understood that things were not that simple. This girl, maybe she came for him. Otherwise, why would she sit next to him? But what was there for her to pay attention to? She even gave up her position as the deputy leader of Group C and came to be a student and be his deskmate? If she had no purpose, Xiao Chen would not believe it. Song Huawu said, "The report I received that day was that the Witch of Xishan wanted to kill Zhang Tianhao's benefactor, White Fox, who helped him complete the mission. I happened to see you fighting with the Witch of Xishan, so I knew your identity. Others don't know. So that's how it is. I thought I exposed myself somewhere." Xiao Chen was relieved after hearing that. Song Huawu knew about this purely by chance. He didn't have time to wear a mask that day. Then will you keep it a secret for me? It depends on how cooperative you are. Song Huawu said, "I suspect that the people of the demonic sects gathered in Songning City to hold a summit battle with the people of the righteous sections. The responsibility of our Supernatural Investigation Bureau is to avoid large-scale fights between the demonic sects and the righteous sections. Therefore, even if it's a summit battle, we have to control it within a controllable range. Once it gets out of control, it will be a bloodbath in the underworld." What does this have to do with me? Xiao Chen looked at Yi Xiaoye in confusion. I'm AF * King Hidden Demonic Cultivator. Others don't know about it and no one wants to challenge me. You are familiar with Yi Xiaoye. You can inform me immediately if anything happens to her. You don't need to do anything else. Song Huawu said, "How about it? Do you agree?" What's the benefit if I agree? What's the harm if I don't agree? Xiao Chen asked after pondering for a moment. If you agree, we will be considered friends. If you want to join the Supernatural Investigation Bureau in the future, I can introduce you. Song Huawu said, "It's fine if you don't agree. I can't kill people at will, although I will publicize your matter." Xiao Chen was a little speechless. You are threatening me? No, you are the one who asked me. Song Huawu said, "If you choose to agree, then there will be nothing else. Besides, do you know how good it is to join the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? This is a symbol of a martial artist's identity, just like the people in the Warrior Guild and the Hong Chamber of Commerce. If ordinary people know your identity, they won't dare to provoke you easily. Those who can provoke me are special people, such as Old Monster Xishan. He doesn't care about your identity at all." Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. This is true. Song Huawu had to admit. However, protecting the peace of the underworld is the ideal and ambition of our Supernatural Investigation Bureau's martial artists. This is a noble job. I'm sorry, I don't have that leisure. My father is missing and many people are targeting me. My wife is about to be snatched away by others. I don't have such lofty ideals for the time being. Xiao Qin said. I can apply for the Supernatural Investigation Bureau to help you investigate your father's disappearance. Someone is targeting you. After you join, you won't be alone. You will have teammates to help you. As for your wife, I can't help you with this matter. Song Huawu said. Why don't you change your target? Change my target? Change yours? Xiao Qin asked. You can change, but I don't care if you can achieve this goal, Song Huawu said. You are forcing me to cooperate. Then, I will entrust my father's matter to you. Xiao Qin thought about it. Anyway, there was no harm in this matter. Might even be beneficial. At least, he could ask the Supernatural Investigation Bureau to help investigate his father's matter. Actually, in Xiao Qian's eyes, the Supernatural Investigation Department was a high and mighty mysterious existence. In his opinion, it would be good enough if the Xiao clan could come into contact with the warrior guild at most. As for the Supernatural Investigation Department, they had no relations with these aristocratic families at all. In other words, the structure of the Songning 9 families was not in the eyes of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Now, Xiao Qin didn't expect that he could still establish contact with the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. If he had their help, there might really be news about his father. Okay, for now, you are a non-staff member of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's Team C. After you have made contributions or passed the assessment, I will help you apply to become an official member. Song Huawu said, keep an eye on Yi Xiaoya. Now is your first task. Keep an eye on Yi Xiaoya. You have to give me detailed information about Yi Xiaoya, right? What is her identity? Xiao Qin was actually a little surprised that Yi Xiaoya could actually attract the attention of Song Huawu, the deputy leader of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's Team C. It seemed that she was not as simple as a small character or a rogue cultivator. She was at least a disciple of a big demon sect and should be a relatively core disciple. Otherwise, Song Huawu wouldn't have gone through so much trouble to find Xiao Qin to keep an eye on her. You don't know? Then you don't need to know for the time being. Song Huawu said, actually you don't need to know anything. You just need to write down who Yi Xiaoya is in contact with, whether she has been out for a long time, or if there is any abnormal behavior. You don't need to do anything. Why does it feel like we are playing Infernal Affairs? She and I are teammates. Xiao Qin felt that it was not a good thing to do. We are teammates now, Song Huawu said. Song Huawu said, help me make up an excuse. Ask me to visit your house and then I'll test Yi Xiaoya. Xiao Qin was a little speechless. I say, Deputy Leader Song, I am now living under someone else's roof. Can I still invite you to my house? What are you thinking? You think too highly of my status. That's why I asked you to make up an excuse. If you can make the decision, why would you need to make up an excuse? Song Huawu asked. Xiao Qin was depressed. Let me think about it. Cousin Menjing, your danger alert has just been lifted, and now it's orange alert again. Jin Beibei said. Look, the pretty girl who just transferred to our school is having a good time with my cousin-in-law again. What a fickle guy. Tang Tang has just left and he is already having a good time with her. I really feel sorry for Tang Tang. Cheng Menjing glanced at Xiao Qin and snorted, somewhat annoyed. Yes. That's why I suggest that cousin Menjing should talk to my cousin-in-law and let him know who his real fiancé is. Jin Beibei said. Who is it? Cheng Menjing asked. Cousin Menjing you. Jin Beibei said. Nonsense. Cheng Menjing glared at Jin Beibei. What's the relationship between him and me? I think you are the one who is anxious, aren't you? Yes, I am anxious for cousin Menjing too. Jin Beibei nodded, pretending to be serious. Cheng Menjing did not say anything else. In fact, Cheng Menjing did not think that Xiao Qin was such a lascivious and superficial man. Why was he having a good time with his new desk mate after Tang Tang left? Cheng Menjing found it hard to believe that Xiao Qin could be so open-minded. However, this was the truth. Cheng Menjing had no choice but to believe it. After the first class, Lu Jinming waved at Xiao Qin, hinting for Xiao Qin to go to him. Xiao Qin was slightly dazed. Lu Jinming had been quiet for a few days. What was he up to? Xiao Qin had been in low spirits because of Tang Tang's incident. Therefore, he had neglected the guy and even almost forgotten about him. What are you doing? Lu Jinming, can't you see that I am busy chatting with a pretty girl? Xiao Qin said. Lu Jinming was stunned. Chatting with a pretty girl? Did Xiao Qin fall in love with Song Huawu again? He came here this time to ask Xiao Qin what Cheng Menjing liked. But it's romantic to send flowers on her birthday. That's right. Lu Jinming nodded after listening. Young Master Xiaoqin, you're awesome. You hit the point at once. Okay, I'll prepare some flowers. If there's nothing else, I'm leaving. As Xiaoqin said this, he got up and left. In fact, he was just talking nonsense about flowers. With Mrs. Character, she wouldn't care what Lu Jinming sent her. In the blink of an eye, it was time for school to end in the evening. What surprised Xiaoqin was that Song Huawu was actually studying the whole day. She was reading books nonstop. Could it be that she really came here to study? Not just to keep an eye on me but also to keep an eye on Yi Xiaoya? Xiaoqin, what are you going to do tonight? Song Huawu asked. Tonight? It's Qing Minjing's birthday. I'm going to be her attendant, said Xiaoqin. Oh, forget it, said Song Huawu. What are you going to do? Asked Xiaoqin. Nothing. I want to go to your house. Let's talk about it another day, said Song Huawu. I say, Deputy Team Leader Song, you just met me on the first day and you want to follow me home? What identity? What reason? Even if Yi Xiaoya doesn't doubt it, Miss will doubt it, right? Xiaoqin was a little speechless. This Song Huawu is really impatient. Oh, I've already thought about it. Just say that I'm your girlfriend. Song Huawu said, this way it's logical to go to your house. I just met you on the first day and you're already my girlfriend? What kind of development speed is this? Is it godly speed? Do you think Miss has 0 IQ like you? Said Xiaoqin helplessly. You're the one with 0 IQ. Haven't you heard of love at first sight? Song Huawu glared at Xiaoqin. How about this? You chase me for a few days and then I agree. You take me to your house. I don't have the time. Xiaoqin said, I'm very busy all day. How about I chase you for a few days and then you agree? Said Song Huawu. Stop messing around. I'm leaving. Xiaoqin picked up his bag and got up to leave. That's a deal. You're now an off-staff member of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. You must cooperate with me. This is an order and a task, said Song Huo. Xiaoqin ignored her. He went out of the classroom and went to the parking lot to wait for Jean Beibei and Miss Xiao. It didn't take long for them to arrive. You seem to hit it off with Song Huo. You've been chatting all day? Miss Xiao said indifferently, that's great. Tang Tang just left and you changed your target again. I'm so sad for her. What are you talking about? She just came here and is not familiar with the school. I'll introduce her. Xiaoqin said, well, get in the car. When is your birthday party? Let's not be late. It's 6:30. It's still early. Qing Minjing and Jean Beibei got in the car. When we pass by the pharmacy, can I buy some medicine first? Xiaoqin was going to buy medicine again today, and he didn't know how much it would cost. Okay. Miss Xiao did not object. Xiaoqin drove to the door of Little Hong's pharmacy and got out of the car. Miss Xiao and Jean Beibei naturally did not go with him, so Xiaoqin entered the pharmacy alone. Brother Xiaoqin, are you here to play with me again? When Hongzhu saw Xiaoqin, she ran to greet him warmly and winked at him. I'm here to buy medicine. Grandpa LV is here too. Xiaoqin nodded to LV Fangzhen behind the counter. I've changed the prescription this time. You've changed the prescription? LV Fangzhen immediately became interested. Can I have a look? Yes. Xiaoqin did not hide anything. He came here to buy medicine and did not want to hide anything. So he handed the prescription that he had copied according to the Elder Heaven Ancestor's description to LV Fangzhen. LV Fangzhen hurriedly caught it and looked at it carefully. However, Hongzhu pouted and glared at Xiaoqin unhappily. Hey, why are you ignoring me? You don't want me now that you have a new person? How can that be? Xiaoqin smiled bitterly. I'm just greeting Grandpa LV. Why are you looking for me? When are you going to find me another opportunity to make money? Hongzhu was addicted to making money. The Hong Ying team did not have much funds because the salaries of the Hong Ying team members were paid by the Hong Chamber of Commerce and the Warriors Market Square. The Hong Ying team did not have to fork out extra money. Although the Hong Ying team also had some funds every year, it was not much. Hongzhu naturally would not let go of the opportunity to make some extra money because she, the leader of the Hong Ying team, was not rich. Make money? Oh, you mean the illegal medicine? That's something that can only be found by chance. I guess that's the only time, Xiaoqin said. Boring. I thought you had a way. Hongzhu was a little disappointed. Little Hongzhu, if you need money you can ask for it from home. No one won't give it to you, LV Fangzhen said with a smile. That's different. Hongzhu shook her head and did not say much. In fact, she did not want the Hong Ying team to rely on the help of her family to develop. In the past, the people in charge of the Honging team were also self-reliant. Hongzhu did not want to be worse than them. Of course, the Honging team's money channels were usually not open and above board. There were no records of the previous leaders, so Hongzhu could only rely on herself to explore. It was not easy to have a pleasant cooperation with Xiaoqin. She did not expect it to end so soon. Xiaoqin did not know what the two of them were playing at. After LV Fangzhen looked at Xiaoqin's prescription, she had a headache. She could not understand it at all. Last time she could roughly make some judgments, but today's was completely different. It was even more incomprehensible. He could not see the pharmacology and medicinal properties of this prescription at all. The main reason was that there were many rare medicinal materials, such as the heart-devouring exquisite grass, which was a very rare medicinal material. This made LV Fangzhen really unable to understand the meaning of this prescription. Grab one? LV Fangzhen asked. Yes. Xiaoqin nodded and said, Sorry to trouble Medicine Master LV. Let me keep the prescription and I will give you a set of medicinal materials as usual. How about that? LV Fangzhen held the prescription and asked. Okay. Xiaoqin would not refuse. Only LV Fangzhen could do such a good thing. If it were someone else, they would have secretly copied it themselves. How could he say it so openly? Don't worry, I will still study it myself. If you don't agree, I will definitely not spread it. LV Fangzhen added and promised. I believe you. Xiaoqin had no reason not to believe him. If he could not do it, he could not say it. There was no need to make a solemn promise again. Hongzhu was a little unhappy. Old man LV, you lost money again. Deduct it from my salary. LV Fangzhen smiled and said, Deduct the 3 million from before from my salary too. Okay. Hongzhu agreed without thinking. Deduct it and give it to me directly. You're so greedy. You didn't bring it with you when you were born and you didn't bring it with you when you're dead. Why do you need so much money? LV Fangzhen didn't seem to care at all, but judging from his understated attitude, his annual salary was probably not a small amount. Otherwise, not only would an ordinary person's salary be deducted, but it would also be reduced to a negative figure. LV Fangzhen prepared the medicinal materials and gave them to Xiaoqin. Then he said, Little friend Xiao, are you free today? There is a medicinal material in your pharmacy that I want to discuss with you. Of course, it is just for research. Chapter 291. Today? I'm going to a friend's birthday party. The car is still outside. Xiaoqin said with some embarrassment. In fact, he knew nothing about the uses of medicinal herbs. It was all told to him by the elder heaven ancestor. Oh, is it convenient for you to take me around? I'll take it as a ride. Just drop me off wherever you go. I'll take a walk around before coming back. LV Fangzhen had learned a lot about Xiaoqin from Hongzhu, especially about the death of the Sun family members on horseback. This made LV Fangzhen feel that Xiaoqin's medical attainments should be very high. He was a child of an ordinary family and had never had any contact with the demonic sect since he was a child. If any demonic sect really had an outstanding talent like Xiaoqin, they would have openly trained him long ago. It was impossible for Hongzhu not to know. But now Xiaoqin had been a nobody until he was chased out of the family. He had never had any contact with anyone. Therefore, according to LV Fangzhen and Hongzhu's analysis, Xiaoqin should not be a disciple of some demonic sect. He should be a self-taught individual cultivator. If that was the case, then Xiaoqin's value would be quite great. Self-taught, not only did he have some achievements in martial arts, but he was also very good in the medical field. This kind of talent was exactly what the Hong Chamber of Commerce needed to befriend. It was not surprising that an outstanding disciple could be produced with the accumulation of natural treasures from large families and sects and the guidance of famous teachers. However, such people often had limited achievements because there was no pressure and no innovation. Although it could not be said that they had no achievements, there were not many who could really reach the peak. However, it was different for individual cultivators. Generally, individual cultivators who had killed their way to the peak had their own unique points. In particular, LV Fangzhen's research on medicinal herbs had reached the level of obsession. Therefore, he did not hesitate to lower his status to befriend Xiaoqin. Of course, Xiaoqin might not know his identity, and LV Fangzhen did not introduce him too much. If he introduced him too much, it would seem that he was suppressing Xiaoqin with his status. This was not what LV Fangzhen wanted to see. After all, in his opinion, Xiaoqin's medical attainments might not be inferior to his. All right. Xiaoqin nodded. Since the other party had put it this way, it wouldn't be good for him to refuse. Let's go then. LV Fangzhen was very happy. He quickly left the counter and followed Xiaoqin out of the pharmacy. Hongzhu shook his head helplessly as he watched them leave. It's true. Old man Lu takes over Xiaoqin the moment he arrives. I can't even say a few words to him. No, I have to think of a way to get rid of him. Cheng Menjing was surprised to see Xiaoqin walk out of the pharmacy with an old man and get into the car. She and Yushu sat in the back while LV Fangzhen sat in the front passenger seat. This is a pharmacist who helps me get medicine from the pharmacy. It's on the way, so I gave him a lift, Xiaoqin explained. Oh. Cheng Menjing nodded and did not say much. After all, she was a kind person. She was very willing to help others. Xiaoqin started the car and drove in the direction of the Cheng family. The Cheng family carried too many of Xiaoqin's memories. In the past, when his father Xiaofeng was still alive, Xiaofeng would bring Xiaoqin to visit the Cheng family during festivals. At that time, Xiaoqin's identity was Cheng Menjing's fiancé. Of course, although the two families were in-laws, the Xiao family was weaker and the Cheng family was stronger. Therefore, it was the Xiao family who visited the Cheng family, not the Cheng family who came to visit the Xiao family. This situation continued until Xiaofeng and Cheng Zhongqian went missing. After that, the Cheng family and the Xiao family cut off contact, and Xiaoqin never visited the Cheng family again. After that, Xiaoqin was kicked out of the Xiao family. Little friend Xiao, you said that you used a firewood flower leaf in that medicinal herb. What is this medicinal herb used for? LV Fangzhen asked. LV Fangzhen's words pulled Xiaoqin back from his thoughts. He shook his head. When he appeared in the Cheng family again, his identity was different. He used to be half a master, but now he was a servant. Firewood flower leaf? Xiaoqin was stunned. Then he heard the voice of the elder heaven ancestor. What an idiot! You don't know this? Firewood flower leaf and myelin withered grass together can accelerate blood circulation, which means it can accelerate the absorption of medicinal herbs. Xiaoqin repeated the words of the elder heaven ancestor to LV Fangzhen. After listening to Xiaoqin's words, LV Fangzhen suddenly understood. He patted his head and said, Yes, why didn't I think of it? I thought that the myelin withered grass and the bitter fruit in the prescription can strengthen and consolidate the devil chi of a devil cultivator. It turns out that it is with the firewood flower leaf. LV Fangzhen couldn't be blamed for this. The bitter fruit was generally used by devil cultivators to assist in their cultivation, and the bitter fruit and myelin withered grass together were used to strengthen and consolidate the devil chi. In other words, the devil chi that was cultivated every day would be consolidated into the body. In his opinion, Xiaoqin was also a devil cultivator, so these two herbs were naturally in the same group. As for what the firewood flower leaf was for, he naturally couldn't figure it out. Chapter 292. Yes, but I don't know what you do. Qing Mingqiang said, You used to be my sister's fiancé, but not anymore. I don't pay attention to you. Who knows what you do now? Are you here to freeload? Are you a beggar? I was brought here by your sister. We came together just now. You saw it. She asked me to go in and wait for her. Xiaoqin was not angry. Instead, he found it a little funny. Why did Qing Mingqiang make things difficult for him? Looking at Qing Mingqiang, it seemed that he owed him a lot of money. Did this guy hate him so much? Xiaoqin really couldn't understand how he had offended him. I'm sorry, I didn't see it. If you are here to attend the banquet, then show me your invitation. Everyone who comes here has an invitation. Look, those who enter the banquet are all holding invitations. Qing Mingqiang pointed to the place where several disciples of the Qing family were being interrogated not far away. Sure enough, everyone who came was holding an invitation in their hand. I say, young man, why are you so unreasonable? He clearly came with the people inside and he even spoke to them. Why didn't you let him in? Aren't you deliberately making things difficult for him? Lu Fangzhen, who was standing on the side, couldn't stand it anymore. He couldn't help but explain to Xiaoqin. Lu Fangzhen really couldn't figure it out. With Xiaoqin's medical skills, he was more than qualified to be a pharmacist in any martial artist's market. They were all high and mighty existences that had followers. It wouldn't be a problem even if he went to the martial artists' market's headquarters. Even if he went directly to the Hong's Chamber of Commerce, it wouldn't be a problem with Lu Fangzhen's recommendation. But now he was standing at the door and being made difficult by a young man who looked much younger than Xiaoqin, which made it difficult for Lu Fangzhen. Of course, he had intended to make friends with Xiaoqin, so when Qing Mingqiang made things difficult for Xiaoqin, he spoke a few words for Xiaoqin. I say, old man, what does it have to do with you? Qing Mingqiang glared at him and said, Xiaoqin, did you bring this person to beg with you? Scram to the side and beg for food. Don't be an eyesore here. You. Lu Fangzhen did not expect Qing Mingqiang to scold him. Not only did he call him an old man, but he also called him a beggar. No one had ever said that to Apothecary Lu in his entire life. Putting aside the fact that he was respected no matter where he went, even if they did not know him, they could not speak so rudely to him, right? What about you? Old chicken 8 lanterns, don't you know how to keep a low profile when you're here to freeload? Who do you think you are? Qing Mingqiang sneered disdainfully. In his opinion, what kind of person could come together with Xiaoqin be? LV Fangzhen was so angry that his face turned red. Seeing Medicine Master Sun quicken his pace, Qing Zhongfan was stunned. He did not expect Medicine Master Sun to attach so much importance to him and actually greet him quickly. He was immediately overjoyed. It seemed that even Medicine Master Sun had to show some respect to the Qing family's status. However, what Qing Zhongfan did not expect was that when he reached out to shake hands with Medicine Master Sun brushed past him without stopping. This caused Qing Zhongfan to be a little dumbfounded. What the hell was going on? What was going on? He quickly turned around and saw Medicine Master Sun striding to the old man from before. With a respectful face, he wanted to reach out his hand but did not dare to. He just nodded and bowed. Medicine Master LV, it really is you. I did not expect to meet you here. I'm so happy. LV Fangzhen was a pharmacist of the Hong's Chamber of Commerce and also the chief pharmacist of the Warriors Market headquarters. He had also given training lectures to pharmacists of various branches of the Warriors Market. Medicine Master Sun had also attended LV Fangzhen's lectures, so he regarded himself as a student in front of LV Fangzhen. In fact, it was also an honor to be LV Fangzhen's student. LV Fangzhen was so angry that he did not say anything when he saw Medicine Master Sunday. He just breathed heavily. Medicine Master LV, what's wrong with you? Are you suffering from heat stroke? Medicine Master Sun did not know what had happened before. Judging from LV Fangzhen's appearance, he seemed to be suffering from heat stroke. LV Fangzhen pointed to the manor behind him and asked, "Whose house is this?" "This is the Qing family, the head of the Songning family, the Qing family." Medicine Master Sun hurriedly explained. Medicine Master LV, what are you doing here? Are you also here for the birthday party? The Qing family? Never heard of it. LV Fangzhen was really angry today. He sneered and said, Good, very good. The Qing family, right? Yes. Medicine Master Sun nodded in confusion. He did not know what had happened. Qing Mingqiang was a little surprised when Medicine Master Sun ignored his father and him. When he turned around, he missed the scene of Medicine Master Sun nodding and bowing. He was far away and Medicine Master Sun's voice was not loud, so he did not hear what Medicine Master Sun had said. However, LV Fangzhen's voice was not low because he was angry. Qing Mingqiang was immediately unhappy when he heard that he had never heard of the Qing family. He pointed at LV Fangzhen and scolded, "Old man, why are you still here? Don't embarrass yourself here. Get out of here. Can't you see that there is a distinguished guest here?" Medicine Master Sun was a little dumbfounded. This was Qing Zhongfan's son? Had he taken the wrong medicine? How dare he talk to LV Fangzhen like this? Qing Zhongfan turned around first. He had already noticed that something was wrong. When he heard his son talking nonsense, he quickly scolded, "Mingqiang, shut up." Qing Mingqiang was stunned, not knowing what was going on. "Medicine Master Sun, may I ask who this old man is?" Qing Zhongfan felt a little pain in his heart. It seemed that he had made a subjective mistake. He saw this old man walking over with Xiaoqin, so he subconsciously thought that he was someone brought by Xiaoqin. However, after seeing Medicine Master Sun's attitude toward him, it seemed that it was not that simple. "This is Medicine Master LV Fangzhen from the Warriors Market headquarters. He is also my teacher." Medicine Master Sun introduced him loudly as if LV Fangzhen being his teacher was an incomparably honorable thing. Qing Zhongfan suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. Medicine Master from the Warriors Market headquarters? And Medicine Master Sun's teacher? It was over. How could it be good to offend the Medicine Master from the Warriors Market headquarters? Although the Qing family was the head of the aristocratic families in Songning City, it was only limited to Songning City. Outside of Songning City, it was nothing. What kind of high and mighty existence was the Medicine Master from the Warriors Market headquarters? It was a great honor for the Qing family to condescend to attend Qing Minjing's birthday party. How could he say that he was here to beg? Qing Zhongfan's vision darkened, and he almost fell to the ground. Qing Mingqiang was also a little dumbfounded. His face was full of shock. He naturally knew the significance of the medicine master from the warriors' market headquarters. He did not believe it. He did not believe it. Medicine master son, did you make a mistake? He came with Xiaoqian. Qing Mingqiang struggled on his deathbed. He hoped that medicine master son had made a mistake. Qing Zhongfan, is there something wrong with your child's head? Do you need me to treat him? Medicine master son said coldly. Normally, medicine master son would not have mocked Qing Mingqiang for his sake. However, in front of medicine master Lu, anyone could make a choice. Mingqiang, shut up. Qing Zhongfan slapped Qing Mingqiang, making him see stars. This slap was made with inner strength. One could imagine how angry Qing Zhongfan was at this moment. After slapping Qing Mingqiang, Qing Zhongfan ignored him. He turned his head to look at Lu Fangzhen and said politely, I'm sorry, medicine master Lu. I was careless. I thought you were with Xiaoqian. You don't know, but Xiaoqian and my family have some conflicts, so. Chapter 293. I don't care if there's a grudge or not. There's something wrong with that guy's attitude. Why is this guy called Xiaoqian? Xiaoqian's friend, who is this guy's sister, asked him to go in and wait for her. This guy obviously saw it, but he made the decision to stop him. What's going on? I just couldn't stand it and said a few words of justice, but he scolded me so harshly. LV Fangzhen shook his head and said, come on, I was just walking around and saw such an ugly family. I can't afford to offend them, but I can at least hide from them. LV Fangzhen turned around and was about to leave. Don't, wait, medicine master LV, it's our fault. Please come to our house and give us a chance to make amends. Qing Zhongfan was scared. If he offended medicine master LV, his family would be blacklisted by the headquarters of the warriors' market. Then, no matter which city the Qing family went to, they would be blacklisted by the warriors' market. No, I won't lower myself to your level. You don't have to be afraid. I won't target you because of this. Medicine master LV waved his hand and quickly turned around to leave. Teacher, wait for me. I have some questions to ask you. Medicine master's son hurried to catch up with LV Fangzhen. He didn't even say hello to Xiao Hai and Qing Zhongfan. In his opinion, if he could successfully build a relationship with LV Fangzhen and become his disciple, the Sun family's meteoric rise would be just around the corner. Even without the help of the Xiao family, as long as the Sun family could build a relationship with LV Fangzhen, it would be hard for them not to prosper. He was a medicine master himself, so he knew the power of a medicine master. Especially when medicine master LV was a medicine master of the warriors' market, which was a far cry from his position. However, Xiao Hai was not angry. After all, medicine master LV's identity was there. It was reasonable for medicine master son to go and flatter him. However, Qing Zhongfan's face was dark and uncertain. In fact, he didn't know whether LV Fangzhen's words were true or not. If LV Fangzhen wanted to target the Qing family, it would be impossible for the Qing family to keep the title of number one, even though the Qing family was the number one aristocratic family in Songning. Although it was not a matter of time for them to be eliminated, once they were suppressed, it would be impossible for the Qing family to keep the title of number one. Not far away, a car was parked there. The people in the car watched the scene quietly. However, when the people in the car heard LV Fangzhen's identity, they could no longer sit still. Jingshen, you go to the banquet by yourself later. Dad will go talk to pharmacist Lu and see if we can make friends. Xin Jinghao said. Oh. Xin Jingshuan's eyes were fixed on Xiao Qian. As for Lu Yaoshi, Xin Jingshen didn't care much about him. She got out of the car and walked toward the door. Meanwhile, Xin Jinghao turned the car around and chased after LV Fangzhen and Sun Yukai, who were not far away. Xiao Qian, why are you here? Xiao Hai pretended to have just seen Xiao Qian and asked. Second, Uncle Xiao, nice to meet you. I came with Qing Minjing. I'm her follower, so naturally I have to help her out at the banquet. Xiao Qian didn't manage to say, second uncle, out loud in the end. Instead, he greeted Xiao Hai politely. Oh, okay, let's go in together. Xiao Hai nodded and didn't say much. His expression was as cold as ever, as if Xiao Qian wasn't a member of his family. Xiao Xiao glanced at Xiao Qian and looked away in disgust, as if she was unhappy that she had such a useless brother. Qing Zhongfan and Qing Mingqiang didn't have the mood to make things difficult for Xiao Qian at this time. Although LV Fangzhen said that he wouldn't target the Qing family, who could guarantee that? What if LV Fangzhen was angry when he went back and attacked the Qing family? But no matter what, although it was annoying, they had to endure it first. There were so many guests at night and they couldn't let them watch the show. Cheng Zhongfan planned to wait until the evening to report to Old Master Cheng, and then the family would have a meeting to discuss countermeasures. Xiao Chen also saw Xin Jingxian coming from not far away, so he said, "It's Xin Jingxian. I will wait for her." Cheng Mingxiang couldn't wait to see Xiao Chen. He wanted to humiliate Xiao Chen before, but he lost face in front of Xiao Chen, which made him very unhappy. Out of sight, out of mind. At the same time he was thinking about how to make a fool of Xiao Chen again. Cheng Zhongfan didn't comment, but Xiao Hai looked at Xiao Chen with some disappointment. Xiao Hai also knew that Xiao Chen liked Xin Jingxian before, but what was Xiao Chen's identity now? And what was Xin Jingshuan's identity? Xiao Chen still had fantasies about her. Wasn't he looking for trouble? Moreover, Xin Jingxian was already Qin Jinpeng's fiancée. Even if Xiao Chen hadn't been driven out of the family, it would be impossible, not to mention that he had been driven out of the family. Xiao Hai hoped that Xiao Chen would pull himself together, but when he saw Xiao Chen and understood Xiao Chen before, he realized that Xiao Chen didn't have much of an outstanding performance after he left the family. Other than being able to endure a bit of hardship, there wasn't much improvement. However, from Xiao Hai's point of view, even if Xiao Chen went to talk to Xin Jingxian wouldn't refuse. Her personality was like that. As expected, Xin Jingxian smiled and greeted Xiao Chen. On the surface, Xin Jingxian was still very normal, no different from usual. "Xiao Chen, why are you here alone? Where are Menjing and the others?" They went ahead to change into their formal wear. "Let's go in and wait for them together," Xiao Chen said. "Okay." Xin Jingxian nodded, but after 2 steps she whispered without opening her mouth, "Be careful at the banquet. Don't touch me. I'm just an attendant at the banquet. I'm probably busy to death." Xiao Chen didn't answer her question, but Xin Jingxian was relieved after hearing it. What she was most afraid of was that her relationship with Xiao Chen would be discovered. If that happened, she wouldn't know how to face Qing Menjing. Secondly, she couldn't fall out with the Chen family now. Qing Zhongfan, Xiao Hai and the others walked in front. Xiao Chen and Xin Jingxian walked behind. "Oh right, where's Uncle Xin?" Xiao Chen was a little puzzled. There was no reason for Xin Jinghao not to attend the Qing family's banquet. Even if the Xin family was more powerful than the Qing family, Xin Jinghao was just a branch of the Xin family in Songning City. Otherwise, it would be impossible to have a marriage alliance with the Qin family. "Right, do you know the weird old man called Medicine Master Lu beside you?" Xin Jingxian suddenly remembered, so she asked. "Oh, I know him, but I'm not familiar with him. I went to a pharmacy to buy medicine, and he is the elder of the pharmacy owner," Xiao Chen said. "Oh, my dad seems to want to be friends with him, so I chased after him. If I knew it, I would have asked you to introduce him." Xin Jingxian shrugged. "Do you dare?" Xiao Chen asked. "That's true." Xin Jingxian shook her head. The two followed the directions on the road and came to the Qing family's banquet hall. As the head of the Songning family, the Qing family had a luxurious banquet hall comparable to a 5-star hotel in their home. There were many guest rooms, conference rooms, entertainment facilities, and so on. After entering the banquet hall, Xiao Chen found a place to sit down with Xin Jingxian. It didn't take long for Qin Jinpeng and Chao Yuliang to arrive. The two walked quickly to Xiao Chen's side and sat down. "Xiao Chen, you came quite early." Chao Yuliang greeted Xiao Chen, but he felt disgusted as if he had eaten a fly. Logically, Xiao Chen should have died long ago, but he was still alive and well. Wasn't this disgusting? The most important thing was that the person behind him would definitely be unhappy when he saw that Xiao Chen was not dead. Chao Yuliang felt a little uncomfortable when he thought of this. "I came with Menjing," Xiao Chen said faintly. "Aren't you early too?" "Ah, how can I be late for Menjing's birthday?" Chao Yuliang laughed and said, "Right, I'm going to send flowers to Menjing in a while. What do you think, Xiao Chen?" "Sure." Xiao Chen nodded, but he didn't expect Chao Yuliang to send flowers. "Isn't that a conflict with Lu Jinming? You guys seem to be having a good chat." Before Chao Yuliang could reply, a voice rang out, causing his expression to change slightly. The person who spoke was Cheng Mingxiang. "Are you unhappy that you didn't block me at the door? Look at you. Your face looks like sh*t. Did you eat sh*t? Xiao Chen didn't say anything to him at the door, but he was unscrupulous here. He couldn't go against the Cheng family, but he didn't have any scruples against Cheng Mingxiang. Anyway, Cheng Mingxiang didn't dare to make a move at the banquet. He was the host. If he made a move against the guests at the banquet, the reputation of the Cheng family would plummet. "Good, very good." Cheng Mingxiang's face became extremely gloomy, and his eyes were about to spit fire. Xiao Qin, aren't you a waiter? Okay, now you go and help the waiters prepare the items for the banquet. Cheng Mingxiang thought, who asked you to show off in front of me? I will tire you to death. If you want to stay here, you have to listen to my instructions. Otherwise, get lost at any time. Before Xiao Qin could speak, he heard another voice coming from behind Cheng Mingxiang. Xiao Chang, my cousin-in-law is my personal asset. Do you want to snatch him from me? Xiao Chang? Cheng Mingxiang's face immediately darkened. Who else would call him that except Jin Beibei? Also, she called Xiao Qin cousin-in-law? Didn't it mean that he was also his brother-in-law? However, Cheng Mingxiang dared not argue with Jin Beibei. He could only smile obsequiously and say, I was just joking with him. Jin Beibei nodded and said proudly, that's more like it. I don't think a cockroach like you has the courage to snatch him from me. Cheng Mingxiang coughed and said, how about this? There is still some time before the banquet begins. Why don't I show you the collection room of the Cheng family? The aristocratic families in Songning had begun to show off their antiques and treasures to the guests. The Cheng family was no exception. This procedure had been agreed upon in advance. Cheng Mingxiang would show the members of the aristocratic families the collection room of the Cheng family. It would be a good opportunity for them to witness the wealth of the Cheng family. The Cheng family was an ancient warrior family. They had a lot of antiques related to ancient warriors too. That was the difference between the Cheng family and other aristocratic families. They were talking to each other and no one noticed him. When he came to the door, Thin Monkey found a trash can and threw the flowers away. He kept the packaging and then began to wander around the Cheng family's courtyard. There were many guests who came to the banquet. In addition to these aristocratic children, there were also some rich people and local small families. These people also wanted to curry favor with the Cheng family. Therefore, there were many people in the Cheng family's courtyard. When Thin Monkey went out, no one noticed him at all. After wandering around, Thin Monkey found a vegetable farm. At this moment, the servants of the Cheng family were harvesting fresh vegetables in the field and preparing to send them to the kitchen. Thin Monkey picked up a few blooming green onions and stuffed them into the previous flower packaging. Then he turned around and walked back. When he returned to the banquet hall, Thin Monkey happened to see the servants decorating the background of the banquet hall. There happened to be spray paint, so he picked up a can of red paint and sprayed it on the green onions in his hand. The flowers on the green onions turned red. Of course, if you looked at it suddenly, it really looked like a nice bouquet of flowers. Thin Monkey grinned. Xiao Chen's idea was really good. He sneaked back to the banquet hall and put the bouquet of flowers back into Chow Yuliang's box. Then he sat aside as if nothing had happened. On the other side, Xin Jianghu caught up with Medicine Master Sun and Lu Fangzhen. He quickly slowed down and stopped beside them. Xin Jianghu got out of the driveway and asked, Elder Lu, Medicine Master Sun, where are you going? Let me give you a ride. Elder Lu, what do you think? Medicine Master Sun didn't dare to make a decision, so he turned to look at Lu Fangzhen. I don't think it's necessary. I just want to stroll around. I don't have a specific place to go. Lu Fangzhen thought for a moment and said, I don't want to trouble others. It's not troublesome, Elder Lu. We still have a long way to go to leave the manor. There are highways all along the way, and there are no sidewalks ahead. It's not safe. Xin Jianghu said, unwilling to give up. Elder Lu, Mr. Xin is right. It's really inconvenient if there are no cars here. Medicine Master Sun nodded. He didn't help Xin Jianghu. The main problem was that neither he nor Elder Lu were warriors. If they walked such a long way, wouldn't they die of exhaustion? Besides, if they encountered a car on the road and couldn't avoid it in time, wouldn't they be killed directly? Okay, then we'll take a car. Lu Fangzhen didn't insist. He just didn't know where Xin Jianghu came from. He thought that Xin Jianghu was sent by the Cheng family to make up for his mistake. But when he heard that his surname was Xin, it was obvious that he was not from the Cheng family. After offending Lu Fangzhen, the Cheng family sent an outsider to please them. There was no sincerity at all. Elder Lu, please. Xin Jianghu quickly opened the back door of the car and held the roof of the car with his hand to prevent Lu Fangzhen from hitting his head. After Lu Fangzhen and Medicine Master Sun got in the car, Xin Jianghu got in and asked, Elder Lu, Medicine Master Sun, are we going to the warrior market? Okay, let's go for a walk. Lu Fangzhen didn't refuse. He hadn't been to the warrior market since he came to Songning City. It was reasonable for him to go for a walk. Okay. Xin Jianghu started the car. Little Shen, didn't you go to the Qing family's banquet? Lu Fangzhen asked. My daughter and Qing Minjing's birthday party are good friends. I'm sending her there. Xin Jinghao said, it doesn't matter whether I go or not. I saw that Elder Lu didn't have a car, so I wanted to give you a ride. Oh, Qing Minjing, right? That girl is very beautiful. What's the relationship between her and Xiao Qin? Lu Fangzhen pretended to ask casually. Qing Minjing used to be Xiao Qin's fiancée. But after Xiao Qin was kicked out of the Xiao family, the Qing family broke off the engagement. Xiao Qin then became Qing Minjing's servant. Xin Jinghao said. Although he was a little puzzled why Medicine Master Lu asked this, Lu Fangzhen had probably spoken up for Xiao Qin. Lu Fangzhen nodded. He had heard from Hongzhu that Xiao Qin was kicked out of the family, but Hongzhu didn't tell him about Qing Minjing. Now he knew the complicated relationship between Xiao Qin and Qing Minjing. He thought to himself that the Qing family were blind people who couldn't recognize a gem. Not only did they not know him, but Xiao Qin, such a powerful medicine master, broke off the engagement with him? Didn't they know that in many cases, medicine masters had a higher status than warriors? Chapter 295. However, LV Fangzhen didn't want to get involved in this kind of thing. Obviously, Xiao Qin didn't tell the Qing family about him, so LV Fangzhen didn't want to get involved. He just said lightly, the Qing family is too arrogant. I think so too. Apothecary's son nodded in agreement and said flatteringly, in the future, I won't sell the pills and medicines I refine to the Qing family. That's not necessary. We're doing business, so there's no need to be ruthless. LV Fangzhen waved his hand. Originally, he wanted to punish the Qing family, but considering the complicated relationship between Xiao Qin and the Qing family, he didn't intervene. Yes, Apothecary's son, you're right. I understand. Apothecary's son nodded quickly. Little Shen, are you also a member of the Songning family? LV Fangzhen glanced at Xin Jinghao, who was driving, and asked. He knew Xin Jinghao's mind very well, but LV Fangzhen wouldn't promise him anything. After all, it was impossible to get close to him just because of a car ride. That was unrealistic. I'm a member of the Xin family of Shiwu province. Xin Jinghao replied quickly. He had been looking for an opportunity to talk to LV Fangzhen, but he didn't get it. Now that he had the opportunity, he naturally wouldn't let it go. I'm developing my own business in Songning City. Elder LV, why did you come to Songning City this time? Oh, I'm just walking around. LV Fangzhen said, I know about the Xin family of Shiwu province. I've seen your family Xin Changlong. He had some problems with his cultivation and I helped him with the medicine. Xin Jinghao said quickly, it turns out that you're the savior of second grandpa. I thank you on his behalf. If you need any elixirs in the future, you can ask little son to take care of you. LV Fangzhen said lightly, which was also a promise to thank Xin Jinghao for his hospitality. As for asking Xin Jinghao to look for him, it was impossible. What kind of status did LV Fangzhen have? Even if the Xin family of Shiwu province wanted to look for him, it was not easy to meet them. Alright, thank you, old Lu. Xin Jinghao said gratefully, but in his heart he was a little disappointed. Medicine Master Sun's level was limited, and the pills and medicines he could make were not lacking in the Xin family. Although it was not a bad thing to have a good relationship with Medicine Master Sun, the help he could provide was limited. Of course, Xin Jinghao didn't think that LV Fangzhen would give him anything in return. That wasn't realistic. He just wanted to get familiar with LV Fangzhen and see if there was a chance to get closer to LV Fangzhen in the future. If he could let his son, Xin Jingmao, get to know LV Fangzhen, then Xin Jingmao would have one more bargaining chip in the competition for the position of young master. However, there was a limit to how much they could get to know each other. I have a good understanding of ancient jade, but I don't usually see ancient jade. Xiao Qin nodded. He carefully took the ancient jade and looked at it. However, he was thinking about how he could take it for himself. Jin Beibei glanced at Xiao Qin and grinned, which made Qing Mingqiang feel weird. Why did this little devil smile for no reason? Xin Jingxian didn't think that Xiao Qin was inexperienced. However, she also knew that Xiao Qin had been collecting ancient jade recently. She always felt that Xiao Qin was going to trick Qing Mingqiang. However, although she and Qing Minjing were best friends, she had nothing to do with Qing Mingqiang. Besides, the relationship between her and Xiao Qin was almost unparalleled. However, Chao Yuliang didn't think that Xiao Qin was inexperienced. Xiao Qin had just won 2 pieces of ancient jade from Li Shaning. How could he not have seen ancient jade? However, he didn't know what Xiao Qin was going to do. He wanted to remind Qing Mingqiang, but he didn't know how to say it. Idiot, just use the mental cultivation method and absorb all the spiritual qi in the ancient jade. Anyway, it's such a small piece. It will be finished in a short while. This is much worse than your previous jade pendant. While Xiaochen was thinking, he heard Elder Heaven Ancestor's black-bellied reminder. Yes. Xiaochen said, but can it be finished in such a short time? The jade ring I got later also couldn't be finished in a short time, right? At that time, you were already at the peak of the 4th level of the qi refining stage. If you wanted to break through, you didn't have enough spiritual qi. So, you had an opportunity to break through. Elder Heaven Ancestor explained, but now you have just consolidated the 5th level of the qi refining stage. There is still a long way to go before you reach the peak of the 5th level. Even if you absorb all the spiritual qi, it won't be enough. Oh. Xiaochen responded in his heart. He quickly used the mental cultivation method and secretly absorbed the spiritual qi in the ancient jade. It was really cool and exciting to be a thief. On the surface, Xiaochen was studying it very seriously like a country bumpkin. Qing Mingqiang was also happy to embarrass him. Anyway, the ancient jade was not bad, so he could look at it if he wanted to. Then he began to introduce other collections of the Qing family. Just as Elder Heaven Ancestor said, the spiritual qi in the ancient jade was not very much. Xiaochen absorbed it for more than 10 minutes. He felt that his strength was improving at a very fast speed. Although there was still a long way to go before he reached the peak of the 5th level of the qi refining stage, he was already much stronger than before. At least now, he should be able to defeat a warrior with the 6th level of the qi refining stage. Just as Xiaochen wanted to continue absorbing, Elder Heaven Ancestor suddenly stopped Xiaochen. Stop! Xiaochen was startled and quickly stopped the circulation of the mental cultivation method. Then he asked doubtfully, what's wrong? Elder Heaven Ancestor, is there something wrong? No, but if you continue to absorb, the ancient jade will break and you will end up like the jade before. Elder Heaven Ancestor reminded. Xiaochen was shocked. If the ancient jade was broken in Xiaochen's hands, then Xiaochen would not be able to explain. But thinking of this, Xiaochen's mouth curved into a faint smile. Hey, have you finished looking? Qing Mingqiang shouted at Xiaochen. I have finished looking. But this ancient jade seems to be fake? Xiaochen said weakly. Fake? What kind of look are you giving me? Qing Mingqiang was stunned. He stared at Xiaochen. Don't talk nonsense if you don't understand. This is the Qing family's treasure. This is a very rare waste jade. On the battlefield, it can't be broken by a spear. How could it be fake? Oh, I have said before that I am very knowledgeable about ancient jade. This must be fake. You have been tricked. Xiaochen said. Xiaochen, don't say that the grapes are sour. Qing Mingqiang sneered. What? If this jade is real, then later at the banquet you will kneel and apologize to me. How about saying that you have eyes but cannot see? Destroying Xiaochen's reputation was one of Qing Mingqiang's wishes. If Xiaochen did such a thing, then he would never be able to return to the Xiao family, and he would never be able to reconcile with Qing Menjing. Oh, what if it is fake? Xiaochen asked. Fake? If it is fake, then I will give it to you. Qing Mingqiang snorted. If it is fake, then you will give it to me? Are you sick? Was your head smashed by this jade before? Why would I want it if it is fake? It is not worth a penny. I will feel that it takes up space even if you give it to me for free. Xiaochen curled his lips and said. Then what do you say? Qing Mingqiang was not angry at this moment. He just asked. As long as Xiaochen agreed, then he could humiliate him. If I win, then you will give me a real ancient jade. Xiaochen said. Making a bet in front of so many aristocratic families, he was not afraid that someone would not admit it later. This was also what Qing Mingqiang valued. Chapter 296. Sure, no problem. Qing Mingqiang agreed without thinking. He couldn't wait and said, you can pick any piece of ancient jade here. Now, let's find an expert to identify its authenticity. The reason why Qing Mingqiang dared to bet was that he was confident. This ancient jade waist tag was one of his favorite antiques. After finding an expert to identify it, he even specially tested it. It was indeed extremely hard. It could smash walnuts, nails, and even kill people. Therefore, from Qing Mingqiang's point of view, Xiaochen would lose without a doubt. There was only one result of this bet. That was, he would win and Xiaochen would suffer a crushing defeat. Well, what expert? Didn't you say that this is hard iron jade? You try your best to smash it on the ground. If it doesn't break, then it's really hard iron jade. If it breaks, then it's not. Xiao Qin said directly. Even a slightly harder jade can't break it. You will admit it if I smash it? Cheng Mingxiang didn't believe it was so simple. I mean, this jade is of inferior quality. Golden jade on the outside is rotten on the inside. As long as it's really good ancient jade, it doesn't matter if it's hard iron jade or something else, you win. Xiao Qin said. Really? Cheng Mingxiang was amused. Since you said so, I will fulfill your wish. After that, Cheng Mingxiang raised the ancient jade waist tag in his hand and slammed it on the ground, making a loud pa sound. Cheng Mingxiang was feeling pleased with himself, waiting for everyone's shock and angry praise, as well as Xiao Chen's bitter expression. However, what he waited for didn't come. What he waited for was a wave of shock and a piercing pain from his leg, as if something had burst open. He lowered his head and was suddenly dumbfounded. The ancient jade waist tag was broken and fell to the ground. How is this possible? However, the truth was the truth. Nothing was impossible. You see, I said that your ancient jade is fake, but you didn't believe me. What eyesight do I have? Although I couldn't afford this thing in the past, I have seen a lot of it. Xiao Qin shook his head and said disdainfully, the middle of your broken thing is bad. It's not an ancient jade at all. Whose ancient jade is so bad? This. Cheng Mingxiang thought, could it be that Xiao Qin secretly swapped it? However, it was impossible. In front of so many people, how could Xiao Qin do it secretly? Moreover, he did not know beforehand that he would be bringing everyone here for a tour, nor did he know that he would have such a token. Moreover, Cheng Mingxiang was very fond of this waist token. He often held it in his hand and played with it. Therefore he remembered some of the markings and patterns on the ancient jade waist token very clearly. Just now he took a look at it and there was no doubt that it was his ancient jade. Could it really be fake? Otherwise, why would it shatter into pieces? But it wasn't like this before? After the crazy cultivation just now, he was quite exhausted. His stomach was growling. Therefore he said, let's go and eat. Great, great, great. It's Beibei's favorite. Jean Beibei danced with joy and walked to the buffet table with Xiao Chen. Hey buddy, where are the plates for the guests? Xiao Chen asked a waiter who was serving the dishes. I'm sorry. The banquet hasn't started yet. No plates are available for the time being, the waiter said. When Xiao Chen was about to say something, he saw Jean Beibei directly grabbing a piece of tiramisu cake and stuffing it into her mouth. Is she going to eat it directly? After thinking for a while, Xiao Chen imitated Jean Beibei. He directly grabbed a piece of egg crisp and put it into his mouth. The waiter next to him was dumbfounded. Are the two of them here for free food and drinks? Cousin-in-law, I want that lobster. Jean Beibei pointed at the lobster not far away and said while chewing the apple pie in her mouth. Oh okay. Xiao Chen directly pulled the lobster over, broke the shell and gave it to Jean Beibei. The waiter was at a loss. By logic, those who could enter the banquet hall were all the guests of the Cheng family, and there shouldn't be such a situation. However, the two of them were too unconventional. While he was in a dilemma, the waiter suddenly saw Cheng Mingxiang who was busy serving the guests. Therefore, he hurried to run over and said, Young Master Cheng, look, some guests have started to eat by themselves. But they didn't give us the cutlery, did they? Cheng Mingxiang was stunned. The waiter pointed at Xiao Chen's direction and said, They started to eat directly. Cheng Mingxiang raised his head and saw that Xiao Chen was peeling the lobster. He was immediately infuriated. The banquet hasn't started yet. How dare you, a servant and a follower, eat by yourself? He was worried that he didn't have a reason to take revenge on Xiao Chen. Therefore, Cheng Mingxiang rushed to Xiao Chen at an extremely fast speed. Of course, if he saw Jean Beibei, he would definitely not be so impulsive. However, Jean Beibei had gone to get drinks. Therefore, Cheng Mingxiang only saw Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen, you. While running, Cheng Mingxiang was thinking about how to humiliate Xiao Chen. Get out of the way. Before Cheng Mingxiang could continue, he heard a voice not far away from him. Then, a glass of watermelon juice was poured on his head. It was all red, as if he had been beaten up. Cheng Mingxiang touched the red juice on his head with a complicated expression. He was dumbfounded. Xiao Chang, you are an outstanding martial artist of the younger generation. Your reaction is too slow. I told you to get out of the way. Look, you are screwed. Jean Beibei walked over unsteadily. My watermelon juice is in vain. Sister Beibei, why did you pour watermelon juice on me? Cheng Mingxiang asked while suppressing the anger in his heart. Oh, I ran too fast and my breasts were too big. So, the watermelon juice was spilled. I didn't do it on purpose. Jean Beibei said, Cousin-in-law, when will you treat my breasts? Make them smaller? Xiao Chen asked. Oh, just make them not too heavy. I don't want them to be small, Jean Bebe said. Then I have no choice. Here, eat the lobster. It's peeled. Xiao Chen handed the lobster in his hand to Jean Bebe. Okay. The lobster is delicious. Cousin-in-law, you should eat too. Jean Bebe said. Oh, you should eat. There's more here. Xiao Chen dragged another lobster over. There were only 2 lobsters left on the table. The rest had all been eaten. Qing Mingxiang suddenly realized that he was like an idiot. He had wanted to lose his temper, but not only did it turn into a torrent of abuse, he also helplessly discovered that Xiao Chen was only accompanying Jean Bebe to eat. I'm going to take a shower. Qing Mingxiang turned around and was about to leave, full of anger. Wait. The lobsters are almost finished. Tell the kitchen to get 2 more plates. Jean Bebe said to Qing Mingxiang. Okay. Qing Mingxiang realized that he was the F***king servant, and Xiao Chen was enjoying himself. However, Jean Bebe had said that Xiao Chen would serve her the whole time. Therefore he could not say anything else and could only leave gloomily. However, he felt that something was not right while he was walking. Xiao Chen had already broken off the engagement with Cheng Menjing. Why was Jean Bebe still calling him her cousin-in-law? The adulterous couple was so F***king compatible. Qing Mingxiang thought wickedly, it must be because they have special interests and like to play with brothers-in-law and sisters-in-law. The moment Cheng Menjing showed up, she saw Jean Bebe and Xiao Chen stuffing themselves with food on the other side of the table. She did not know whether to laugh or cry. These 2 guys were really unconventional. However, the young mistress was not surprised at all. They were always like that at home. Seeing a waiter walking over with a plate of spicy rabbit meat, Jean Bebe had sharp eyes. She shouted, Cousin-in-law, I want to eat rabbit meat. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.